of the Cleveland Indians and the New York Yankees on Fox.
It's another beautiful October night at 161st Street and River Avenue as the stadium will be rocking again tonight. The Cleveland Indians world was rocked in Game 1, blowing a 5-0 lead. Why are Yankee fans so vocal and rowdy? They're getting ready across the street at Stan's Sports Bar. Those are the folks who will be greeting young rookie right-hander Jarrett Wright. He faces the biggest challenge of his young career tonight. He takes the mound at Yankee Stadium against Andy Pettitte, who's been there before. Of course, a brilliant Game 5 performance in last year's World Series for the Bronx Bombers. Another controversial move, Charlie Hayes gets the start over Wade Boggs at third base for New York. Joe Torre wanting a little more D in tonight's Game 2. Welcome back to the Fox Television Center in Hollywood. It's time for more primetime playoff action here on Fox. We're minutes away from Game 2 of the AL Divisionals between the Cleveland Indians and the New York Yankees. Hello again, everybody. I'm Chip Terry, joined by Steve Psycho Lyons. It's Game 2 tonight, a rumble in the Bronx. The Indians have to be bumming out. They blew a 5-0 lead in Game 1.
Well, in a short series, you've got to get game number 1, and this is devastating to the Indians for 3 reasons. Number 1, you were up 5-0. You should have won that game. Number 2, you're playing in Yankee Stadium on the road. Anytime you can win there, you've got to get it. And number 3, one of the guys who was most responsible for losing that game, Oral Hershiser, is one of the guys that team's going to count on to get this team up to play tonight, along with Jim Thome and Dave Justice. It was a very mentally disappointing game for them, and right now they got to get up to play.
Well, Steve, so far, every playoff series is 2-0, and only one team has won on the road. That's the Baltimore Orioles. They have taken 2 straight from the Seattle Mariners at the Kingdome, a shocking development in the first round. Jamie Moyer knocked out of the game. His elbow flared up, and the Mariner bullpen blew up in the 5th inning, leading 2-1. Paul Spoljaric serves it up to Robbie Alomar. A great try by Junior. Couldn't make the grab. 2 Oriole runs score. They take a 3-2 lead into the 7th when Brady Anderson does it to Bobby Ayala. He says Kapaya. 5-2 is the score for Baltimore. They go on to rout the Mariners. 9-3 the final score. They have a 2-0 lead. Game 3 in Baltimore. We'll have it for you on Fox beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern time. My, oh my, what a story. Cal Ripken Jr. and the Orioles in the first 2 games of this series.
Well, Cal Ripken knows his body better than everybody. All these people out saying that he should have taken some time off. I was included in that, but hey, he came in here slumping. Now he's 5 for 9 in the series, and that's why, one of the reasons why the Baltimore Orioles are the most complete team in baseball is because of their versatility. Lenny Webster fills in for Hoyles today after Hoyles gets conked on the head. Davis goes out with an injury in this game. They plug Barreau in. He goes deep. These guys can beat anybody, and they're proving that right now.
Mariners were really banking on Randy Johnson, getting him off to a good start. I wasn't a big fan of seeing Randy pitch on Saturday. Yes, he got his 20th win, but it looked to me like he wasn't pitching with a full tank of gas last night.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a cheap victory for number 20. I think if you asked Randy Johnson, even he would say that he wouldn't want to be out there. But at the same time, pitching on the side is a lot different than pitching in the game, and he really shouldn't have been out there on Saturday.
Losing Jamie Moyer really hurt the Mariners today, too. He was pitching brilliantly. Those lefties for Seattle had done a good job. Moyer goes out. The Mariner bullpen gives it up again.
Well, Jamie Moyer's a guy who is 23-7 since he came to this team. If it wasn't for Randy Johnson, he would be the ace of this staff. Now, this is the kind of injury, as far as I'm concerned, where he will not pitch again for the rest of the season, no matter how far this team goes, and they're in trouble now without him. He was winning 2-1 when he left. He did an outstanding job for them all year long.
Well, Seattle's been here before. They were down 2 games to the Yankees in '95. We'll see if they can come back and beat Baltimore. The other good news for Seattle, well, at least they haven't blown a save yet in this postseason matchup with Baltimore. Time for a little psychoanalysis, Steve. Game 2 between the Yankees and the Indians. 8-6 New York won Game 1. Today, 21-year-old right-hander Jarrett Wright takes the mound. What do you think's going through his mind?
Well, I'll tell you, anytime you've talked to Jarrett Wright or listened to him speak, his dad played in the big leagues. This guy has just enough cockiness to pull this off, aside from the fact that he's probably got the best stuff on this staff. Young kid, but you see the good riding fastball right there. He's got a good breaking ball. That fastball is in the mid-90s. Look for tonight's ball game. Both Tino Martinez and Paul O'Neill have trouble with hard-throwing right-handers that they've never seen before. So you're going to look for that in tonight's game.
So who has the advantage, Wright or the Yankees?
Well, I think Jamie Wright will have the advantage for the first time through the order. But guess what? The equalizer is he has to play in Yankee Stadium. And you know what, Jared? They don't like you there very much. You're going to come in. You saw those guys we showed you across the street partying before the game. They're going to be in the stadium when you're pitching. They don't like them.
Hang with them. How about the controversial move by Joe Torre? We saw it in Game 1. Cecil Fielder bench. Tim Raines in the lineup. A homer, 3 RBIs for the Rocks tonight. It's Charlie Hayes over Wade Boggs. righty against righty, not righty against lefty at third base for New York.
Well, Joe Torre is famous for making these moves. He's not afraid to make any move at all. Here's a great play made by Charlie Hayes, but guess what? Wade Boggs has 2 gold gloves over there, 94 and 95. The reason they made this move is defensively. Andy Pettitte loves to pitch inside. He has to pitch inside to be effective. That means a lot of ground balls going to the left side of the infield. He wants Charlie Hayes out there. But Boggs is the lefty in the lineup, too, and he's a much better situational hitter. I'm not sure that I agree with this move.
Well, Jared Wright, just the 12th pitcher at younger than 22 to make a postseason start in baseball history. Those youngsters are 6-2, so perhaps plenty of hope for the Indians in tonight's ball game.
Yeah, his hand's like this right now, I can guarantee you.
Just like yours when we do the show. I love to see that. All right, well, we'll see if 21-year-old Jared has the right stuff tonight in the Bronx. He is 7-0 after a Cleveland loss, and the rookie will be tested like he's never been tested before. It's Game 2, the Indians and the Yankees coming up. Here's Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Bob Brenly in the Bronx.
As you approach the Bronx in Yankee Stadium, we say get ready, if you can, for Game 2 of this division series between the Cleveland Indians and the New York Yankees. It is a crisp October night at Yankee Stadium. The fans are piled in here again, hoping for more Yankee magic like we had here on Tuesday night. And welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck, along with my partners, Tim McCarver and Bob Brenly. We'll get right to it. Bob, the guys in the pregame show were talking about young Jared Wright, 21 years old, faced with a lot here tonight. Well, the Yankees have a guy, 25-year-old Andy Pettitte, 18-game winner, seemingly a world of experience, and they're happy to be able to throw him out there tonight.
And in the course of acquiring that experience, Andy Pettitte has really learned how to do the little things well. We know he's got great stuff. We know he's a competitor. Those are big things. 14 pickoffs, most in the major leagues. Tremendous pickoff move. A byproduct of that, runners cannot get as good a jump. They can't get as big a lead. Consequently, they've grounded into 36 double plays when Andy Pettitte's on the mound, most in the majors. Joe, you may ask yourself, why not bunt on Andy Pettitte? I'll tell you why. He's a great defensive pitcher as well. You remember Game 5 last year in the series? Mark Lemke bunts it back to the mound. The bare hand play, great throw to third to get John Smoltz. I tell you, those little things can add up to be big things this time of year.
I remember that play. Thanks for reminding me, Bob. And we move to Tim McCarver and talk about that very good Cleveland lineup. We talked about it on Tuesday night. Well, they are out there tonight in a game they need to have, and they're going to try to pound on Andy Pettitte.
Well, Bob is right. Andy Pettitte is a very formidable left-handed pitcher, but the Cleveland Indians very tough on left-handed pitchers this year. As a matter of fact, the best batting average in the American League, third in home runs, third in winning percentage, and look at that 307 lifetime batting average against Andy Pettitte by left-handed batters. So if you're talking about the Cleveland Indians, the best way to get to first base, just ask them.
Are you ready for Game 2 here at Yankee Stadium?
I am ready, brother.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We are all ready. Hope you are. It is Game 2 of this division series with the Cleveland Indians and the New York Yankees, with the Yankees up 1-0. Stay tuned. The starting lineup's first pitch coming up after this from your local Fox station. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium, the site of a game the Cleveland Indians let get away, and tonight the site, the game they need to have before this series shifts back to Ohio. A look at their lineup. Vic Roberts will lead it off, but in left field tonight with Omar Vizquel batting second and short. Manny Ramirez in right field. Matt Williams is cleaning up at third. The DH is David Justice. Sandy Alomar Jr., he went deep in the first inning on Tuesday night. A 3-run shot, was 2 for 4 on the evening. Then Jim Thome backed up to the number 7 spot in the Indians lineup. Tony Fernandez is hitting 8th at second base, his first start. And Marquise Grissom again batting 9th in center field. A look at the Yankee defense. Chad Curtis is in left field with Williams in center and O'Neill in right. Shortstop Derek Jeter, 4 put-outs, 3 assists in Game 1 on Tuesday, and he likes to shine in postseason baseball. And he's had a chance in his first 2 years in the big league. On the mound for the Yankees tonight, 18-game winner, Andy Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte, the anchor of this Yankees pitching staff. David Cone, the big game pitcher. Andy Pettitte, the consistent winner. See what his numbers on the season. Features a cut fastball. He'll run inside to right-handers. He'll also sink that fastball. Throws a great straight changeup, and he's been working on an overhand curveball that he will use to get a strike on right-handed hitters occasionally. A little bit of a different look from Andy Pettitte. I think that overhand curveball is what gives them the different look. The right-handers, especially that killer cutter that saws off right-handed bats. Fastball is straight, but good location. Primarily, however, he keeps the ball inside the right-handers and outside the left-handers. He's a one-location pitcher, even though that location usually is right on target.
So it is the relative inexperience of young Jarrett Wright, the 21-year-old, on the mound tonight for Cleveland, facing Andy Pettitte and these Yankees. And Andy, although relatively new to the big league scene, came up and was firmly planted in this rotation in 1995. Here he is in 97, again back in the postseason. He's on the mound trying to win this game, too. This broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Glad you're with us. Viv Roberts leads it off with Omar Vizquel and Manny Ramirez to follow game 2, with the Yankees up 1-0. Roberts so involved on Tuesday night, 2 out of 3 with an RBI, a couple of walks, a couple of stolen bases. Two and 0. Home plate umpire tonight, Dan Morrison, with Rick Reed at first, Dale Scott at second, Richie Garcia, the crew chief, at third, Darrell Cousins down the left field line, and Tim Kushida down the right field line. There's a strike, 2-1.
An adjustment made by Andy Pettitte on the third pitch. The first 2 pitches high and away with the fastball, and he followed through and came really through with the fastball on that 2-0 pitch.
Through the right side, and Viv Roberts, who is all over the place for Cleveland on Tuesday night, on base 4 times, is 1 for 1 in game 2.
Well, Mike Hargrove said that Viv Roberts really energized this Indians ball club when he came over, and he continues to do it in the postseason, finding a hole in the right side. Pettitte tries to go away with a fastball. Viv Roberts goes where the pitch was. Now the action begins with a man on first, and the Pettitte move, best in the big leagues.
As has already been mentioned, he picked off 14 during the regular season this year, and since 95 when he came up, he's picked off 37.
Now, he picks off guys that have no intention of running.
And an early look at that move. Vizquel at the plate with Manny Ramirez to follow.
Well, Viv Roberts with a pretty good read on the first 2 throws to first base. You could see him staring intently out at Andy Pettitte. Right there, if that right foot goes behind the back leg, the pitcher is committed to going home. That's why a lot of managers and a lot of base runners think that it's a balk move. Most good moves to first base are balk moves, as a matter of fact. But that's something to look for. That's what the base runners look for. But Major League, American League umpires will give Pettitte the benefit of the doubt on that move to first.
Mike Hargrove, the Indians manager, stopping just short. And his description of that move as a balk. There's a strike to Vizquel, 1-1.
14 pickoffs this year, no balks called against Andy Pettitte. I think the thing that sells that pickoff move so well is he doesn't do a lot of the standard things that left-handers do to tip off a throw to first. Sometimes they'll rear back. Sometimes they'll look at home when they throw to first, look at first when they throw to home. He doesn't do any of those things. His move to first is very, very similar to his delivery to home plate.
Big overhand breaking ball drops low, 2-1. The Indians last night had Roberts on base, stole second. Vizquel bunted him over to third, and the Indians ended up with a 5-run first inning.
You have a pretty good hit-and-run situation right here. 2 balls and 1 strike, the ideal count on which to send the runner.
And a little pop-up to the right side for Sanchez. 1 away. Well, why not get it right from Andy Pettitte's mouth, his description of that pickoff move.
If I'm in a good groove pitching and I have good control and good command, and it seems crazy, but it seems like I have a better pickoff move on those days than if I'm really struggling with my mechanics. I guess because everything's the same and everything looks the same. So there's not really, you know, I've been able to pick off so many guys for 3 years in a row now. There's not really anything that I don't think I'm tipping them anyway.
That's just what you said, Bob. You try to keep the delivery to home plate as much like your move to first base as you can. Try not to give that base runner anything to key off of. And when he said when his mechanics go bad in his deliveries to the plate, his move suffers for it to first base.
Now Manny Ramirez looks at ball one low and away. Manny in game 1, 2 out of 5 with an RBI. For the season, hit .328 with 26 home runs. And a guy who lifetime is hitting .500 against Pettit with a couple of home runs. Andy Pettit trying to get around a leadoff hit by Bip Roberts, who hasn't moved. Except to go back to the bag. Still a 1-0 count on Ramirez.
Interesting thing, Mike Hargrove telling us before the game that the Indians had picked up something in Andy Pettit's move to first base. Obviously, he wouldn't tell us, but they have picked up something, and he feels that they can run against Andy Pettit. Conveyed to Bip Roberts, we'll see.
Ball and a strike on Manny Ramirez on that pitch down and in.
It's a big breaking ball from Andy Pettit. We talked about the curveball that he will use to right-handers on occasion. Swings right over the top of it, chasing a bad pitch right there.
So far, so good for Pettit and the Yankees after that leadoff hit. Bip Roberts shown no signs of wanting to run. Low to Ramirez, 2-1.
You know, if indeed the Indians have picked up something in Andy Pettit's move, you really have to get out there and see it before you believe it.
That's right.
That's like when you have a runner at second base and he tells you between innings, I've got the signs, I'll relay them to you at the plate. Well, until you're pretty doggone sure that he's got the signs right, you're not going to believe him.
You've got to have a lot of confidence in the other guy.
Well, I'm sure Bip Roberts is going to keep a close eye on Andy Pettit here and make sure that he's seeing what he thinks he's seeing.
Certainly had quite a few chances to read that pickoff move, and so far no missteps on the part of Roberts. Able to get back easily with every check by Pettit. Meanwhile, Manny Ramirez out in front on the count, 2 balls and a strike with Matt Williams to follow. Two and two.
Well, even if they don't steal bases against Andy Pettit, if they're able to get a normal-sized lead at first base rather than shorten up, as we mentioned in the open, at least they'll have an opportunity to break up double plays, perhaps advance first to third on a base hit. Bip Roberts has got a big lead over there.
But it's a one-way lead. It's going back to first base, not to second base.
Two. Double play ball to Jeter. Taking himself. Inning over. A leadoff hit. Bip Roberts never moved. Pettit kept him at first. Another Yankee double play turn. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. Bottom of the first inning. No score. The Indians got a leadoff hit. Pettit got around it. Look at the Yankees lineup. They'll lead it off with one of the heroes of Game 1, Tim Raines, the DH homer. Then Derek Jeter batting second and short. Paul O'Neill is in right field. Bernie Williams is the cleanup man. Tino Martinez hoping for a better postseason this year than he had a year ago. Then Charlie Hayes at third. Chad Curtis in left. Joe Girardi catching, and Ray Sanchez, a silent hero for the Yankees in Game 1. Wraps it up batting ninth. And the Indians defensively up the middle. A couple of guys who can handle the leather. 8 of the last 11 Gold Gloves handed out at short have been to these two guys. And Fernandez plays second tonight behind 21-year-old Jared Wright.
Jared Wright, a 95 to 97 mile an hour fastball. So goes his fastball, so goes Jared Wright for the most part.
He started this season in Double-A Akron. And he deals with the Yankees in Game 2 of this division series in the fastball. 98. On our radar gun, missing outside for ball one. Two and 0.
One thing you want to do with Jaret Wright as a catcher, you don't want him throwing to the mitt. You want him throwing to the four corners. Here, 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 here. You enlarge the target for him. Not to the mitt, but the four corners for a young pitcher with a moving fastball.
Take a look at the scouting report on young Jaret Wright. Outstanding power, the 2- and 4-seam fastball. The 4-seamer will be up high in the zone more often than not. The 2-seamer will sink a little. Throws a pretty good changeup. Kind of a mix between the curve and the slider. They call it a slurve. Sometimes they'll throw it a little harder than others, make it break a little more, take a little off. Basically a power pitcher, though. He's going to rely on that fastball, as Tim said.
And Tim Raines is gone as he grounds to first with Jeter and O'Neill to follow. Mike Hargrove, early in this process, tabbed Jaret Wright as his Game 2 starter. As Jeter walks in, Bob, I'll ask you, is this a wise decision in your mind on the part of Mike Hargrove to put this 21-year-old kid out on the mound in a night like this?
Well, I really think it is. You're going to have to pitch him sometime in this series, and Mike Hargrove's thinking is, with Charles Nagy throwing Game 3, a sinker ball pitcher, Orel Hershiser, a sinker ball pitcher, very similar deliveries, very similar styles, put the flamethrower in between the two sinker ball pitchers. And they talk a lot about this kid's poise. I think he can handle this, although Yankee Stadium has been the end of a lot of young pitchers.
Yeah, there are a lot of models at the Eileen Ford agency that have a lot of poise, but they don't have 95-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Well, he's hit 98. He's hit 97 here in the first inning. That's 97 again, but low and away for a ball, 2-1. Derek Jeter stepped to the plate after Tim Raines tied the game at 6 in that 5-run 6th inning, and a little short arm and a flick into the seats in left field to put the Yankees out in front for good at 7-6. They won 8-6. 3-1 on Jeter as that 99-mile-per-hour pitch missed low and away.
Yeah, that was a great example by Derek Jeter in that ball game last night of adjusting your swing after you started. Pulled his hands in close to his body so he could get the head of the bat on the ball.
Full count, and he is bringing it here in the first inning.
Hard and heavy. Right on the outside corner on a 3-1 pitch.
3-2 to Jeter. Up to 99 miles per hour again. Do we know if our gun and our graphic goes up to triple digits?
Well, just a word about radar guns. Dan Warthen, the pitching coach for the San Diego Padres, says radar guns are like bathroom scales. You know how that can be. You go to the neighbor's house, you weigh light, you go buy that kind of scale.
Keep going back to the one that weighs light, too.
3-2 to Jeter, and again, fouled out of play. I've been in search of that scale for a long time. Jaret Wright has bottomed out at 95 miles per hour here in the first inning. A one-out walk.
Where the Yankees are a lot tougher than most American League teams because they will take the walk. 676 walks as a team led the American League. Good combination. They do not strike out a lot, and they walk a lot. So it's a tough lineup for Jaret Wright.
We've heard a lot about back-to-back-to-back home runs. First time it's been done in a postseason game, and O'Neill was the end of that back-to-back-to-back train on Tuesday night. He pounded one to center off Assenmacher to make it 8-6, which is the way it ended. Low for ball one from Jaret Wright. Jeter during the regular season stole 23. Held on by Thome. stops his ball 2, misses low to O'Neill.
It's really not a good running situation right here. The reason is Jarrett Wright can't find the strike zone. You don't want to run and be thrown out if a pitcher is wild. However, if he recovers and starts throwing more strikes, that's when you send the runner.
And a lot of times power pitchers will have problems holding runners on first base anyway. They like to use the higher leg kick to generate that momentum necessary to deliver that ball home in the high 90s.
After a walk to Jeter, it's 2-0 on O'Neill with Bernie Williams next. Again, a start and stop by Jeter, and again it's low, this time ball 3.
I would not have O'Neill hitting here. 3-0. He can't find the strike zone.
I agree with you, Tim. You got the fans involved in the game now. Try to rattle the youngster out there on the mound any way you can. Make him throw a lot of pitches.
Back-to-back walks, and of the 16 pitches that Wright has thrown here in the first inning, 10 have been out of the strike zone.
All fastballs.
And now with 2 on, 1 out, it's the cleanup hitter for the Yankees, Bernie Williams. 0 for 2 on Tuesday night in Game 1. And now the veteran Matt Williams, the third baseman for the Indians, in to talk to Wright. Try to calm him down a little here in the first inning. Strike from Wright. Manager Mike Hargrove saying that he's never seen Jarrett Wright lose his composure or get rattled. You want a test? Here's a test in the first inning with 2 on, 1 out.
Remember what we were saying, you don't want to throw and encourage a young pitcher to throw to the mitt as a target. Not the target there, but the 4 corners. It gives a young pitcher a bigger target for which to throw. Let the natural action take care of the pitch.
Strike 2.
First breaking ball.
Our pitching coaches for years have reminded catchers that when a guy's out there throwing fastballs out of the zone, hey, don't forget his other pitches. Make him throw the breaking ball. Make him mix in a changeup occasionally. Perhaps that will get him back into the rhythm throwing the fastball.
1-2 on Bernie Williams. Handcuffed him but missed inside. 2-2.
Well, Mike Hargrove compared young Jarrett Wright to a young Roger Clemens. Says he has the same kind of composure, the same kind of brashness out there on the mound, and very nearly the same kind of fastball.
Time called at home plate by Williams. Raines grounded out. A walk to Jeter, a walk to O'Neill. And now a 2-2 pitch to Bernie Williams.
I think you have to send the runners here, don't you? 3-2, 1 out.
Bernie Williams knows that strike zone. Will they go? They're off. Ball 4. The bases are loaded. And a visit from Mark Wiley, the Indians pitching coach.
Let's take a look at the pitches to Bernie Williams and how close that 1-2 pitch was. There's a strike on the first pitch, another fastball strike, the breaking ball over the heart of the plate, and now Williams just holds up again, and a good play by Alomar to keep that ball out in front. Otherwise, Jeter, running on the plate, could have come around to score.
Well, it appears to me that Jarrett Wright has made an overcompensation. He was missing up high in the walk to Jeter and the walk to O'Neill, and then Bernie Williams came to the plate and he was missing down low in the strike zone. So he just needs to find that happy middle ground there.
And that happy middle ground, as we were saying, Bob, if you look at the two shin guards and the points on the chest protectors, the shoulders and the knees, that gives you a bigger target.
Tino Martinez with the bases loaded, 1 out in the first. That almost got away from Alomar. Ball 1. Foul for strike 1. Jarrett Wright is the son of Clyde and Vicky Wright. Clyde looks a little more relaxed than Vicky right now.
They went to see Phantom of the Opera on Broadway last night. The three of them did. They're hoping this is not a recurrence of that play.
Getting ugly in a hurry. Bases loaded, 1 out. And the 1-1 to Tino Martinez. Ball's behind again, 2-1. Chad O.J., the right-hander, getting ready for the Indians here in the first. The 2-1 to Martinez. Fair down the line. Jeter scores. O'Neill scores. They hold Williams at third. It's 2-0 New York.
Nice job by Tino Martinez of staying with the pitch. Fastball outside part of the plate. Doesn't try to pull it. Just inside the third baseline. Rattles around down there in the corner. By the time Biff Roberts gets it back into the infield, the Yankees are ahead 2-0.
The parents of Jarrett Wright, his father Clyde Wright, pitched in the big leagues. At one time a 20-game winner for the Angels. A no-hitter on his resume. The first hit produces 2 runs for the Yankees here tonight against Jarrett. To the infield in, Charlie Hayes a chance with second and third, 1 out, strike 1. First at bat of this series took over defensively on Tuesday night. He starts in place of Wade Boggs here in game 2. Second and third, 1 out, and a blistering pitch for a strike 0-2. Ball and 2 strikes.
And once again, like last night, you can see Sandy Alomar giving his signals to the pitcher, Jarrett Wright, way down low in his crouch. Normally the catcher keeps his hand back up in the crotch, but as you watch here, Sandy Alomar puts those fingers way down below. Sometimes a guy on that opposing bench can peek in underneath and steal those signs.
Slow roller is foul. It stays 1-2.
All right, the on-deck circle. A lot of catchers will do that. They'll drop the fingers down because the shadow in the groin area. A lot of times you can't see the signs real well. Some catchers even put tape around their index finger and middle finger to make the signs a little easier to read, but it is very unusual for Alomar to drop down that far to give the sign.
Rare first inning trouble for Jarrett Wright. Second and third, 1 out, the 1-2 to Hayes.
They really tried to overthrow a breaking ball right there. It just got away from him.
Looked like a backup slider is not only one of the toughest pitches to hit, it's one of the toughest pitches to catch. Catcher sits outside, almost buckled Alomar.
Now the 2-2 to Charlie Hayes. Do it again. Andy Pettitte has a 2-run lead, hoping for more. Bernie Williams, a runner at third. He drew a walk this inning. Tino Martinez delivered with a 2-run double. Already a 32-pitch first inning for Jaret Wright. Hayes spoiled a good pitch.
Great at bat by Charlie Hayes. He just fouled off 2 nasty fastballs on the outside corner. Charlie just happy to still be in there.
Well, this pitch is tough to take, but you can't hit it, so you just try to get a piece of it and stay alive in the at-bat. It wasn't pretty, but it'll work. Emergency swing.
Again, the 2-2. Shallow center. Williams thinking about it. Grissom, the catch and throw. Not close, and it's 3-0 New York.
Well, that's just a great at bat by Charlie Hayes. Fouling off pitches that he couldn't hit. Finally got one he could and lifts it far enough to center. The throw by Marquise Grissom a little offline. Martinez going to third base. If that throw were low enough, Martinez was willing, because Grissom was so shallow, he was willing to trade the out for the run.
But the Yankees get both. The run and Martinez at third, 2 out. Chad Curtis will face Jaret Wright. The 3 who have drawn walks here in the first inning have all come around to score. To the shortstop, Vizquel. To his left. A long first inning for 21-year-old Jaret Wright is history. We go to the second at Yankee Stadium. World champions out in front by 3. Well, I guess it could have been worse for Jaret Wright. Yankees did come up with 3, had the bases loaded, 1 out. They get 3. All 3 that drew walks came around to score, and Jaret has that first inning behind him. Now he asks his teammates to get him back in the game. Indians batting, second inning. Matt Williams takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Funny how that works. Walks equals runs.
That's pretty much the old rule in this game, and especially Jaret Wright losing control in that first inning. And then Tino Martinez with a key double down the line. Strike 2 on Matt Williams. Williams, Justice, and Alomar. The middle 3 for the Indians here in the second. They got a leadoff hit from Roberts in the first, but Manny Ramirez ended the top of the first inning with a double play ball. Just high, 1-2.
Joe Girardi set up inside under the hands of Matt Williams. Pitched just a little bit up as it crossed home plate.
Able to lay off that breaking ball, 2-2.
Now, Pettitte is more likely to use that breaking ball against Matt Williams than any other Cleveland Indians right-handed hitter. Matt Williams is a very good fastball hitter, especially from the middle of the plate in. Has always been susceptible to off-speed breaking balls, especially right-handed breaking balls low and away.
2-2 to Williams. Got it. Down and in, 1 away. And the first strikeout for Andy Pettitte.
Charlie Hayes with just a tremendous at-bat against Jaret Wright. Fouls off the first pitch, a called strike. He's in the hole 0-2. Fouls off another pitch, a bad breaking ball. Fouls off another tough one, another tough one. Gets a fastball inside, lifts it into the air to drive home a run. You know, I think Marquise Grissom could have done a better job of getting his momentum going towards home plate after catching that ball. The ball was hit very high in the air. seemed like he had enough time to back up a step or two and really get some momentum going into the throw.
Instead, it ended up the sacrifice fly to score Bernie Williams and make it 3-0, which is where it stands now. Here's Justice, 1 out of 4 in game 1 with a double. And hit .329 during the regular season. 1-1 from Pettit. And here's one of those tests for Andy Pettit. How will he deal with a left-handed hitting David Justice?
David Justice with a .294 career average against left-handers. Only .278 against right-handers. So he's better against left-handers.
Well, smoke, but foul. The count 1-2.
David Justice, as he just showed on that ball down and in against Andy Pettit, can drop the bat head with the best of them. On balls down and in, most left-handed hitters love that pitch, and that's what he just did. You can see right there that hot zone is down and in.
A ball and 2 strikes, and Justice the other way. Charlie Hayes to his left. Look what I found. 2 out.
Look what Joe Torre found, too. That's why Joe Torre put him in the game. A sacrifice fly, and now a brilliant play on a short hop, laying Justice in the hole between short and third. Look how far off the line he is. Ball hit fairly well. Nice play by Hayes.
That ball coming off the bat of the left-hander, you can see it tailing back towards Charlie Hayes. That ball, a lot of times, the third baseman will overcompensate. They'll overrun the ball, it'll hit off the heel of the glove, and get through into the outfield.
There's Sandy Alomar Jr. Talked about when we ran through the lineups that Alomar had that 3-run home run in the first inning in game 1, and here he's 1-1 against Pettit. Cooler here tonight, and I think that foul ball stung the right hand of Alomar.
Trying to shake those bees out right now. I tell you, the Indians hitters with a couple of screaming foul balls into the stands are trying to pick off these Yankee fans one at a time.
They got a lot of work ahead of them.
A lot of foul balls.
57,398, a Yankee Stadium record since the renovation in game 1. That's Chad Curtis. And that's another 1-2-3 inning. Pettit has faced the minimum through in 2 innings. 3-0 Yankees after an inning and a half.
1997 American League Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. By IBM, solutions for a small planet. By the 68,000 professionals at Delta Airlines. And by Nike, who reminds you that if you've got a problem with baseball, move to Norway.
Beauty shots. That's what we call them. There's a beautiful shot of Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. They have had a lot of wonderful October memories the last couple of years, and even though game 1 wasn't technically in October, Bob, you're going to give me a little leeway to say it was an October night?
Yeah, we'll call it October.
All right. Here's Joe Girardi, the number 8 hitter with Ray Sanchez and Tim Raines to follow. And Jarrett Wright hoping for the ability to find the strike zone here in the second inning. Misses for ball 1. Over the inside corner, 1-1. Good pitch there, strike 2. That's one of the better pitches he's shown us in first 25 minutes of this game.
Yeah, he doesn't try to overthrow this breaking ball. Just starts it over the heart of the plate, lets it move away, down and away from Joe Girardi. That'll be a very effective pitch for him if he can get that over the plate.
Missing, 2-2.
That was a contrast in 2 breaking balls right there. One nice and loose, nice and relaxed. Tried to throw the second one too hard.
Fastball and a little squirter right off the mound. He's got a 95, 98 mile an hour fastball. He can beat Girardi to the bag with that. 1 away.
He was also a linebacker at Catella High in Anaheim. Looks like he has outside coverage right here. Going to his right. Wide receiver open. Got his man.
Joe Girardi always hustling. Runs every ball out. And you never know. I'll tell you, a lot of pitchers don't field their position well. The Yankees don't know a lot about Jarrett Wright. Put some pressure on him. See what he can do. He responded very well that time.
The first time the Yankees have faced Jarrett Wright. In fact, the only team that Jarrett Wright faced his time with the Tribe after he came up with a winning record, the Anaheim Angels. So while he's put together a very solid start to his young big league career, finishing the season at 8-3, he did not do it against the better teams from around baseball, either in interleague play or in the American League. 1-1, pitch to Sanchez. Williams, the funny hop, takes care of it. 2 out. So with 2 out, nobody on, and Rains coming up. We'll remind you this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Here's Rains, grounded out to first. Leading off in the first. But after that, a walk to Jeter, a walk to O'Neill, a walk to Williams. 2-run double by Tino Martinez and a sac fly by Charlie Hayes. It's 3-0 New York. Say the nerves have calmed a bit in the stomach of Jarrett Wright.
Young Jarrett Wright tonight, his second inning is like the second inning of a more experienced David Cone last night. David giving up 5 first-inning runs. In the second inning and third inning, he was a different pitcher. So is Jarrett tonight.
Brett Favre of the world champion Green Bay Packers likes to say, usually takes that one good smack to the head, and then I'm ready for the game. Then I'm into the game. It's tough to walk out of that bullpen and get ready until I think you actually get out on that mound and see how you respond. And Wright, a shaky first inning, much better here in the second.
And a lot of times there's a big difference between the bullpen mound and the game mound. I mean, physically it may take a while to get used to throwing off a different mound, as well as throwing in front of all these rabid Yankee fans.
2-2 now on Rains.
Now that's his view from the pitcher's mound looking in towards home plate.
And that was not his view in the bullpen.
Although I'm sure he heard some pretty good things down in that bullpen warming up tonight.
Oh, come on, New York. Come on.
Forget about it.
Tim Raines, we talked about it in the first inning, hit that 2-run game-tying home run. There it is.
Hey.
Hey, Tribe, forget about it. The series will shift back to Ohio. Game 3 is on Saturday. 3-2 now on Raines. Trying to extend this second inning for Derek Jeter. The second baseman, Fernandez. He played here in New York. A little flip across his body in a 1-2-3 inning for Jarrett Wright. Much better after 2. 3-0 New York. Back after this from your local Fox station. Welcome back to New York, the MetLife Blimp. Snoopy 1 has teamed up with Fox Sports to provide you with aerial coverage of tonight's game between the Indians and the New York Yankees. MetLife Blimp typically cruises at a speed of 35 miles per hour at an altitude of 1,200 feet. Good way to get back to the hotel after the game. 3-0, the Yankees lead. We're in the third, and Andy Pettitte misses down and into Tomey. Mike Hargrove was toying with the idea of starting Kevin Seitzer, the right-handed hitting, really utility player now for the Indians, putting him at first and resting Tomey, but he's stuck with a man who hit 40 home runs this season, who has a 1-1 count.
I think you have to do that in this ballpark with a short porch, 314 down the line. Good curveball from Andy Pettitte.
Ball and 2 strikes, and that hops up into the seats.
Joe, you mentioned 40 home runs off the bat of Jim Thome this year, 36 versus right-handed pitching. 161 at-bats versus left-handers and only 4 home runs. But remember, Pettitte has a tough time with left-handed hitters.
Second strikeout for Pettitte as Thome is gone to start the third.
Now, Thome does not cut down on his swing with 2 strikes. He's trying to whirly-bird on almost every swing, and even with the count of 2 strikes, he gets that fastball down and in, and he lets out some shaft, but doesn't come up with it this time. Thome with a very good eye at the plate, 120 walks on the season, but he also struck out 146 times, which tells you he's not cutting down on his swing.
Mr. Marguerite, who is a teacher at in Ozone Park, or Queens, at the Nativity School, the sister of Joe Torre. And I think we mentioned on Tuesday night that Joe will have a movie made after the life of Joe Torre, including Frank Torre. Robert Loggia will play Frank. Sister Margarita wanted Sophia Loren to play her. How about that?
Fernandez on with a 1-out base hit up the middle. Tony Fernandez aboard. One of the hottest topics around Hollywood. Who is going to play Don Zimmer? Would it be the Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise battle? Don Zimmer. That's our guy, man. He is, when in doubt, our great director, Bill Webb, when in doubt, go to Zimmer. Find him.
You could just watch Don Zimmer's face and tell what's going on the field.
Okay, it's 1 on, 1 out. And here's Grissom. A strike from Andy Pettitte. Joe Torre will tell you Don Zimmer was a big part of their World Championship last year. And they are always sitting together. Joe Torre wanted Don Zimmer on that bench with him when he was named the manager here in New York. Don Zimmer called and wanted to make sure that was not George Steinbrenner putting Don Zimmer on the bench. He wanted to make sure it was Joe Torre. And Joe assured him that it was, and boy, what a terrific tandem they have become. Great baseball mind over on that dugout bench for the Yankees. 1 ball, 1 strike on Grissom. 1 on, 1 out for the Indians. And a broken back ground ball to Jeter. Force out at second. No chance for 2. 2 out here in the third.
Tony Fernandez had to hold up about halfway between first and second. It's doubtful that he would have beaten the play to second base anyway. But he has to hold up because the ball is a line drive, and from his angle, he can't tell whether Matt Williams, or I beg your pardon, Charlie Hayes, has a shot at it. Watch Fernandez. That hesitation right there. But it's doubtful that he beats the play anyway. Jeter with those soft hands and quick release at shortstop.
Now it's Pettitte trying to hold Grissom close at first as Viv Roberts falls behind in the count. So where we had that little game going on between Roberts and Pettitte back in the first inning, now it's Grissom who stole 22 during the regular season over at first. Definitely a spot if the Indians are going to run with Roberts at the plate. Good time to do it. Grissom was leaning and frozen, but the throw a little off the mark.
I think if that throw is on the bag, that's a very close play over there. Grissom just absolutely froze in his tracks there. He's waiting to see something from Pettitte. Better throw makes it a close play over there.
Grissom at first with 2 out in the third. There he goes. They have him picked off. Throw down. Inning over. 14 during the regular season, 37 in his career. Now you can make it 38. What a weapon. 2.5, 3-0 New York. Marquise Grissom, the latest victim of 25-year-old, 18-game winner this season, Andy Pettitte.
It appeared that Grissom made up his mind he was going to go on first move, which is what a lot of managers will do when they're facing a left-handed pitcher with a great pickoff move. Just make up your mind. As soon as that foot starts moving off the ground, you take off for second base. Hope there's a bad exchange at first, or perhaps the ball hit the runner in the back on the way to second.
Derek Jeter leads it off in the third inning for the Yankees with O'Neill and Bernie Williams to follow. And now the second time through the lineup. Well, it's almost like the first time through the lineup for some of these guys because they didn't see any strikes. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams. They had back-to-back home runs last night. Not those 3 guys, but 2 of the 3. Tonight, back-to-back walks. Responsible for the 3 runs in this ball game.
Assenmacher was the one to give up the final one to Paul O'Neill, who waits on deck. Two and two. Got a pretty good idea of the kind of velocity that Wright has with that swing by Jeter. Drop low, full count. The Yankees have scored 3 runs on 1 hit. Three-2 to Jeter leading off. Goodbye. Struck him out over the outside corner, and the first strikeout for Jared Wright.
It's tough as a hitter when you're facing a pitcher that's been all over the place and inconsistent through the early going, and then you get to a full count and he paints the outside corner on you.
Yeah, how can the same guy who's been doing that do that? Right on the black.
And now O'Neill. In this series, 1 for 3. And out in front, a ball, no strikes.
You know, Jared Wright's been throwing his slider at 85, 86, 87 miles an hour. That's better than a lot of major league pitchers' fastball.
Two and 0. Talk about back-to-back-to-back on Tuesday night. What are the odds? Back-to-back-to-back. 3 consecutive home runs, first time in postseason history. Odds are through the roof.
Astronomical. First time that back-to-back-to-back home runs have been hit in over 15,000 postseason innings.
Jeter had the middle blast over the left field wall. It went right, left, center. And it was O'Neill who went to dead central against Assenmacher. Little ground ball for Wright off the mound, the flip for the out, 2 gone. Well, our coverage continues on Saturday. It's Game 3 of the American League Division Series, but it's the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles. Ken Griffey Jr. and the Mariners trying to stave off elimination. Coverage begins live at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on Fox on Saturday. We hope you join us, and I guess it's 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, and the Yankees hoping to make all 4 series 2-0 as we approach the weekend.
And the Indians hoping to do to the Yankees what the Yankees did to them last night, scoring a ton of runs in the first inning.
Williams the other way to left. Roberts cannot hang on, and Bernie Williams has a 2-out double.
Biff Roberts starting at second base last night, and it looked to me like he thought he was closer to the wall than he really was. He jumped prematurely with this ball hit by Williams, tailing toward the line, jumping right there. He didn't need to jump until he took another step. The ball would have come down, an easier play. It looked like Biff thought he was closer to the wall than he was.
There's a very odd angle out there in that left field corner from the foul pole at 318. It goes pretty much straight back and then straight across to left center field. I think perhaps Biff thought he was getting near that triangle over there and was closer to the wall than he really was. That ball hit him right in the heel of the glove. Looked like a ball he could have caught.
Now with a runner at second, 2 out. Tino Martinez. What a play by Alomar to save a wild pitch down and in.
That's a particularly good play by a catcher that is 6'5". The position is not made for a guy that tall and rangy as Sandy is. Ranging far to his right then to make a fine play on that slider that got away from right.
It'd be okay to be 6'5" if your legs were only 2 feet long, but Sandy's got some long legs back there.
Now the Indians will intentionally pass Tino Martinez, and it will be up to Charlie Hayes with 2 on, 2 out.
A lot of organizations don't like to sign catchers that are over 6'3", and the reason, really the initial reason, is you can't give a low target. Very difficult for a catcher as tall as Sandy to get down to give a low target.
So with 2 on, 2 out here in the third, it's a Miller Lite game break. Back to Chip at Hollywood.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. Again, we have Game 3 between the Mariners and the Orioles on Saturday. Bad news, Jamie Moyer left today's Game 2 with a sprained left elbow. Seattle's bullpen continued to struggle. Paul Spoljaric, the first man he faces. Robbie Alomar doubles over Griffey's head, and the Orioles run away 9-3. It'll be Key and Cicero Saturday here on Fox.
Thank you, Chip. Here's a chance for Charlie Hayes. A sac fly back in the first. That's 2 on, 2 out here in the third. Strike 1.
Bob, you'll be jetting to Baltimore tomorrow to join Tom Brenneman for that game on Saturday.
Looking forward to my bag of peanuts and complimentary soda.
2 on, 2 out for Hayes. 0-1 the count. Into center field, pretty well hit, but Grissom back to get it to end the inning. So the Yankees get a 2-out double, and the intentional walk handed to Martinez. But the Yankees leave a couple, and after 3, New York out in front, 3-0. We have played 3. Back to work. Top of the 4th inning. It's Andy Pettitte. It will be the top of the lineup. Viv Roberts, Omar Vizquel, and Manny Ramirez. Well, Hershiser, the starter here last night. Teammates got him 5 in the first inning. We keep saying last night. I think we all must have had a great off day because nobody remembers that was 2 nights ago. I think we're all 3 guilty of that. Tuesday night, he could not hang on, could not get through 5, and battle of the bullpens, and the Yankees won. Viv has had a wonderful series already. 3 out of 4, a couple of walks, a couple of stolen bases. 1 ball, 1 strike from Pettitte. Little broken bat flare, caught by Jeter, 1 away. Don't forget, folks, this week, America's most watched pregame show is back on the road. They'll be live from Green Bay again. And don't miss a key NFC Central Division battle as the 5-0 Buccaneers take on the Packers or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. Check local listings for the game and time in your area. Packers, Buccaneers. Who would have thunk it?
Tell you what you saw against Biff Roberts was Andy Pettitte's vintage cut fastball right on the hands. That'll chew up a lot of bats, and it did Biff Roberts. That bat is history. It's firewood now.
Plane will be a little lighter heading home back to Cleveland after the game. 2-0 the count on Vizquel.
I think Andy Pettitte can get inside the right-handed batters better than any left-handed pitcher in baseball.
2-1.
In my playing days, a guy by the name of Dave Gravecki was notorious for doing exactly the same thing.
Jerry Koosman, the ex-Met pitcher, used to get a lot of right-handers on that inside fastball.
It takes a lot of guts for a left-handed pitcher to come inside on those right-handed hitters. You really have to have confidence that you can get that pitch not just on the inside corner, but on the inside corner and moving in. That's where you get the broken bats, the sawed-off ground balls.
2-2 from Pettit. To third, fair. Charlie Hayes slipped a bit. And safe at first is Vizquel, and down to second. Thinking about going to third, and there he goes. O'Neill's throw cut off. Vizquel is at third with only one out here in the fourth.
And nobody was guarding home plate. Joe Girardi had to race back to home because he was at first, thinking that Vizquel was going to stop at second. Outstanding base running by Omar Vizquel. It'll probably go as a hit and an error. A low throw by Hayes. I don't think a good throw gets him. But Vizquel made the determination to go to second right away and didn't stop going to third.
That's always a tough play for a third baseman. When you go into foul territory and plant, that field is crowned so that the water will drain in the event of rain. Get a look at Vizquel here. Takes a peek over his shoulder. He sees that he can beat that throw to third base at this point. There's Girardi hustling back in from 2/3 of the way down the right field line.
Say it ain't so, Joe.
Home plate wide open, but Vizquel, I think, was out of juice. Still breathing heavy. It's a base hit, E5. The error allowing Vizquel to end up at third, and now Manny Ramirez with the RBI chance. Strike one. 2 out of 6 in this series, and a chance to put the Indians on the board here in the fourth inning. Strike two.
Any ground ball, but a ground ball to third base will score Omar Vizquel. Naturally, the Yankees up by 3 middle innings, playing the infield back. Even Hayes is back at third now, since the count is 0-2 to Manny Ramirez, a real low ball hitter.
First run of the night for the Indians, 90 feet away, but the 0-2 to Ramirez.
Well, the best pitch you can throw a low ball hitter is a ball that's lower than low, and that's how Andy Pettit went about getting Manny Ramirez. A fastball up and out over the plate, a little bit higher that time. And then throws the breaking ball down and in. That was close to that happy zone, but the ball was moving down. Ramirez swung right over the top of it.
3 strikeouts and a perfect time for the third of the night for Andy Pettit. Here's Matt Williams. Vizquel dancing around at third, so Pettit steps off. Williams looking for the 2-out hit.
Andy gets in trouble. You know where he goes. Inside to right-handers. Last 4 pitches have been inside. 3 to Ramirez, the first one that missed to Williams.
Runner at third, 2 out. 3-0 New York, and 2-0. David Justice would follow. Pettit trying to get around a hit and an errant throw by Charlie Hayes in this inning. 2-1. Last night, Matt Williams almost hit a grand slam in the 7th inning, down by a couple. Here are Joe Torre's thoughts when that ball left the bat.
When that ball went, it was right on that border. And I'm looking and I'm just waiting for the fan reaction. And when I heard the cheers go up, I knew we were in good shape, and we dodged a bullet.
Well, that short porch will work for a right-handed hitter as easy as it will for a left-handed pull hitter. Matt Williams just missed one.
Runner at third, 2 out. And now 3-1 on Williams. The resume for Matt Williams, 4-time All-Star. All of this, most of this, while with the San Francisco Giants. And in '94, that strength-shortened year, the home run king with 43. Vizquel at third with 2 out. Full count.
I was a member of the Giants coaching staff that year when Matt Williams was chasing Roger Maris's single-season home run record before the season was interrupted, and I truly believe he had a legitimate chance that year. Even when he was slumping average-wise, he was still getting his home runs.
I mean, the season ended August 12th that year. Had 7 weeks to do it.
He's just looking for a little old single here in the 4th inning. Runner at third, 2 out. Will take the walk, and it's first and third, 2 out, with Justice coming up and representing the tying run. First walk of the night for Pettitte. David Justice, who had a couple of good swings against Pettitte back in the 2nd, ended up grounding out to third, and a good play by Charlie Hayes. Has a chance with runners at the corners here in the 4th inning, and his team down by 3. Why not? Maybe you can catch Williams snapping, but you know Matt. Well, it's not easy to find him at a time when his head's not in this game.
Well, he's always paying attention, but as I mentioned earlier, Andy Pettitte picks off guys that have no intention of running. The move is that deceptive.
Strike one on David Justice.
That pitch was inside to Justice. One of the reasons, in my opinion, that left-handed hitters hit Pettitte so well, a 307 lifetime career average against Andy, are left-handers in the American League. One reason, he doesn't have a tailing fastball that runs in on left-handers. Everything is away, away, away. And that allows left-handed hitters to go away when he pitches. So that's what he ought to do more of, and that's what Mel Stottlemyre, the Yankee pitching coach, has been trying to convince Andy. Come in on the left-handers, not necessarily to get them out, but just to impress them inside so you can get them out away.
Well, that will definitely keep you honest if you're thinking about diving out to that outside corner.
Now the 1-1 to Justice over the heart of the plate for strike 2.
See, every pitch is not designed to get a guy out, but it's designed to open up another area of the plate. The high and tight fastball, the curveball throws Justice.
Field for a 2-out hit. Vizquel scores. Williams will head to third. The throw by O'Neill cut off, and it's a 2-run game. And this crowd got quiet in a hurry as David Justice delivers here in the 4th.
Justice hits a good fastball, middle of the plate in, but as Tim mentioned, no movement back into the hitter. That ball stayed out over the plate. I think O'Neill was caught by surprise. Matt Williams advancing from first to third.
Looked like it.
Well, Paul O'Neill, usually a very aggressive outfielder, very strong throwing arm, but Williams ran right in his face and made it to third base easily.
Now Alomar with the tying runs on. First and third, 2 out. And Justice late getting back.
It's a helpless feeling as a first base coach. Maybe you can read the move from the first base coach's box. That little bit of a difference in the angle that you have, or that Davey Nelson has, gives you a better read than the runner, and you're yelling back and the guy doesn't move.
Alomar off balance, strike one.
And you can be sure that the Indians have gone over and over and over in the meetings. Andy Pettitte's got a good move. Be careful over there. And still, every throw over there is very close to picking somebody off.
David Justice laughing about it right now.
Indians down by 2, 2 on, 2 out. Alomar into center field. It's a 1-run game. Williams scores. It's 3-2 New York. Back-to-back 2-out RBI hits by Justice and Alomar, and the Indians putting it together here in the 4th inning.
A lot of people think that every ball hit hard is a mistake by a pitcher. That's not true. Hitters hit good pitches too. They just hit them less often. But that pitch to Alomar was the real first mistake by Pettitte in the ball game. That ball right up around the letters. And Sandy Alomar never met a fastball up around the letters that he didn't like.
Two out. RBI hits by the Indians. Now with 2 on, 2 out. The dangerous Jim Thome. Already chronicled all the problems Pettitte has with left-handed hitters. 2 on, 2 out. The Indians have a man at the plate who this season hit 40 home runs. Thome looking for his 3rd hit of this division series. There's a strike from Pettitte, 1-1. If you are just joining us from other networks here at 9:30 Eastern, you know where you've been. The Yankees got 3 runs in the 1st inning. The Indians making it a game now with 2 in the 4th. RBI hits by Justice and Alomar. Thome trying to get in on the fun. Out in front, 2-1.
Joe Girardi with a couple of nice blocks on balls in the dirt here during the course of this at bat to Jim Thome. Andy Pettitte trying to snap that breaking ball off, perhaps get a swinging strike. You can see that downward movement on that big sweeping curve, hitting out on home plate, and Girardi keeps the ball out in front.
The breaking ball, the easiest ball to smother when it's in the ground because you're going down with it. You anticipate the breaking ball in the dirt. It's the fastball that often skips by catchers.
2 on, 2 out. Pettitte behind Thome. 2-1. Up the middle and through. Here comes Justice. There'll be no throw, and it's a tie game in the 4th inning. Hits by Justice, Alomar, and Thome. And the 3-run Yankee lead is gone.
The 1992 League Championship Series, the Atlanta Braves against the Pittsburgh Pirates, David Justice was called out for missing 3rd base. It was a key play in a 1-0 game. And it appeared to me that he came very close to missing it, even though he did touch the bag. No appeal play. David not forgetting that play at 3rd base when he skipped over the bag at Fulton County Stadium.
They put him out there for a reason. You might as well step on him.
That's right.
2 on, 2 out. Tony Fernandez with a chance to give Cleveland a 4th inning lead. Strike 1 from Pettitte. Back in the 1st inning, Jarrett Wright, the 21-year-old rookie right-hander, walked 3 Yankees, gave up 3 runs. Now the Indians have come back with 3 2-out RBI hits. It's a 3-3 game, and now Fernandez took low, 1-1. Highest batting average, American League leaders against left-handed pitchers. One of the reasons that Tony Fernandez is in that Cleveland lineup tonight.
facing the lefty Pettit. And a little fly ball down the right field line is out of play. 1-2. Pettit was ahead of Justice 1-2 and let him get off the hook. He was ahead of Alomar, but threw that high pitch. A high fastball, and Alomar delivered. Fell behind Thome, and Thome got him. Now he's 1-2 on Fernandez.
It's going to take a well-placed base hit to score Sandy Alomar from second base. A couple of plow horses out there on the bases right now for the Indians.
Alomar and Thome, 2 out. Still 1-2 on Fernandez.
The one advantage that they do have, the base runners, with 2 strikes and 2 outs on the hitter, as soon as you see that bat start to move, you start to run. If he swings and misses at strike 3, the inning's over. If he puts the ball in play, you're already in motion. It doesn't matter if it's a fly ball, ground ball, you have to run.
A lot of times with 2 outs and a runner on at second base, you'll see the third base coach flash 2-2. It means 2 strikes, 2 outs. Get the extra step and a half from second base.
Again, the 1-2. Fernandez just wasted a nasty pitch to stay alive.
And has a look out to Andy Pettit after fouling that tough pitch off.
Sandy Alomar, when that pitch was fouled off, to echo your point, Bob, was about halfway between second and third. Here it is right here. Look how far off of second base. That's exactly the point you just brought up.
2-2 now on Fernandez. Pettit trying to get out of a long 4th inning. The night for Andy Pettit, no problems through the first 3 innings. And this 4th inning has been a long one.
Well, Jarrett Wright had his high pitch count inning in the first. Pettit struggling here in the 4th.
Two on, 2 out. 2-2 to count. Well hit to left field. Curtis stumbling all around over his head. Up against the wall. Alomar scores. Here comes Thome. The relay is too late. The throw gets away not far enough, and it's 5-3 Indians in the 4th.
Joe Torre inserting Chad Curtis in left field for his defense, and he misplays this ball. His first step is in, and by the time he recovers, it's too late. That first step in, and now by the time he goes back, it's too late. I'm not sure if he had broken back immediately if he makes that play, but I think he does.
And you can see the hesitation there by Derek Jeter on the relay to home plate. Ruined any chance of getting Jim Thome. You saw Curtis's first move was in. The ball was hit much harder than he anticipated. Watch Jeter momentarily hesitate here. Double pumps. Gets the throw to home plate late. Jim Thome scores.
Sometimes when a shortstop or second baseman does that, as you look at the Cleveland bench, scoring 5 here in the 4th, they're trying to re-grip the ball. They don't have a good grip on it. They go back in the glove to pick it out, and it was too late to get Jim Thome. But a ball that could have been caught in left field.
So Fernandez delivers. All 5 runs driven in with 2 out here in the 4th inning. And it's now a 2-run Cleveland lead. Here's the number 9 hitter, Marquise Grissom. Bounced into a force out his first time. This is well hit into deep right center. O'Neill back on the track to make the catch. And a long inning for Andy Pettit and the Yankees is finally over. 2-out noise by the Indians. Fernandez delivers the key double, and Cleveland's out in front by 2. Clyde and Vicky Wright, the parents of Jarrett Wright. Baseball kind of runs in the family. Clyde Wright Threw a no-hitter while with the California Angels on July 3rd, 1970 against the Oakland A's. Final outs on the double play ball. Won 100 games in his 10-season big league career. Former teammate of Mike Hargrove, so it's all in the family around the Indians. And Jarrett Wright's parents here watching after a shaky first inning, to say the least, where he walked 3 and gave up 3. He settled down and now works to Chad Curtis, leading off in the 4th. Strike and a breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
Talked about how the Wright family went to see the Phantom of the Opera last night on Broadway. Well, the music of the night has changed its tune for Jarrett Wright here in the 4th.
He allowed the 2-out double in the 3rd inning by Bernie Williams. Got around it. Curtis throws his bat at the ball, and it ends up at first, safe to start the inning.
You've got to credit Chad Curtis for running hard all the way. A lot of guys would run at about 80%. Chad Curtis does not know the meaning of 80%. Throws his bat at the slider. Jarrett Wright tried to look at first before he had control. You could see him look up. The ball bouncing around in the glove. An error on Jarrett Wright.
It looked like he was distracted by that bat, and for good reason. But there you see Curtis hustling all the way down that first baseline. You know, we shouldn't have to point that out. That should be the rule rather than the exception.
And unfortunately, that is not the case with a lot of major league players. They don't run hard every time they hit a ground ball.
Here's Girardi. After the error, he's the tying run at the plate here in the 4th inning. Tapped back to the pitcher his first time up. Ball gets away, but not far enough from Thome as he goes right through Jose Cardinal.
Junior, get up.
Well, Jim Thome is not a guy you want to run over you in any circumstance. Jose Cardinal, watching the ball, gets blindsided by Thome.
Obviously, we would not be laughing if he were hurt. There's nothing hurt about Junior.
Girardi tapped to second. The tag for the out and the double play 4-3. Beautifully turned by Tony Fernandez. So the error and now the double play ball off the bat of Girardi to help Jarrett Wright here in the 4th.
Watch him turn, and now he turns to his right to make the play. That is so hard to make that balletic play that Tony Fernandez just made. Right on.
Yeah, that makes Mom and Dad happy. Tony Fernandez has always had an arm that's capable of making awkward throws.
He has a shortstop's arm playing second.
2 out, nobody on here in the 4th inning for Ray Sanchez, the number 9 hitter. Williams, stranger to gold glove type plays. In fact, folks, Matt Williams in his career has won 3 of them. Jarrett Wright gets around that leadoff error that he committed. We played 4 here at Yankee Stadium. Cleveland out in front by 2. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium, the MetLife Blimp. Snoopy 1 is under the command of Captains Russ Adams and Charlie Graham. This year, Snoopy is proud to celebrate his 10th anniversary as co-pilot of the MetLife Blimp. Here we go into inning number 5 with the Indians out in front by a couple. And Biff Roberts will lead off. It'll be Roberts, Vizquel, Manny Ramirez. Top of the lineup for the Indians here in the 5th. Biff singled his first time, then was erased in a double play. Popped out in that 4th inning. Takes a strike, and it's 1-2. Girardi trying to bring that back over the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, the pitch was moving that direction anyway, coming back towards the outside corner. The natural momentum of his glove was moving that way, so he was pulled in a little bit more.
Now 3-2 from Pettitte.
And when you see Joe Girardi put down that one finger and wiggle it, that's the sign for Andy Pettitte's cut fastball.
Roberts led off the 4th. He leads off in the 5th. And he grounds to short for Jeter. 1 away.
As he came off the field last inning, Marquise Grissom grabbing his right shoulder. Paul Warfield, the trainer, following Marquise Grissom across the Indians' dugout and on up the tunnel, probably back into the training room. There you can see Grissom cranking that arm as he was the on-deck hitter last inning. And we're not giving away any secrets because I guarantee you Don Zimmer noticed that, being the bench coach for the Yankees. That's one of your job descriptions, is to keep an eye on that opposing bench and see what's going on over there.
So that's something that may play out not only the rest of tonight, but the rest of this series, which the Indians hope to even at a game apiece. For hosting the final 3 games of this division series at Jacobs Field starting on Saturday. 0-2 the count on Vizquel here.
Might have been the residual result of a high five.
It's been known to happen.
It has. I'm saying that in jest. There have been jammed thumbs with guys shaking hands, jammed fingers. I think I've ever seen a sore shoulder from it, but a lot of other things have happened as Vizquel holds up on the cut fastball.
1 out, nobody on. The 1-2 from Pettitte. 2-2.
I haven't really seen a lot of change-ups from Andy Pettitte tonight. He stuck mostly with the cut fastball, the sinking fastball, and the big overhand breaker we've seen him use tonight.
From 0-2 to 3-2. Manny Ramirez is next. Slow roller for Hayes. The bare hand. Great effort. Not in time. And an infield hit for Vizquel on base for the 2nd time tonight.
Well, nothing more Charlie Hayes could have done. He plays it as good as you can possibly play it. Backing up with 2 strikes on Vizquel. He hits the top swinging bunt down the third base line, the bare hand play, and you can see Vizquel just too much speed.
You can see the ball, a bare-handed play is almost a misnomer, because what you do, you catch the ball in your palm and then you shift it to the fingers to throw the ball. And with that shift, that allowed Vizquel to beat the throw.
1 on, 1 out for Manny Ramirez. Drove in a run in game 1 and takes ball 1 from Pettitte.
That play on that slow roller to third, you almost have to pick up the ball in the throwing position, because most of the time when you barehand the ball, it's going to be a close play.
On Vizquel, who stole 43 bases, a career high during the regular season, as we look at the outfield hits by direction for Manny Ramirez.
Spreads him around pretty good. Consequently, the Yankees have to play him straight up in the outfield.
You can see how deep Curtis is in left. Ramirez gets under it. To the right side for Sanchez. Straight up and ends up in the glove of the former Cub. 2 out. So Ramirez is 0 for 3. He is not in on this 5-run, 8-hit Indian fun. It's up to Matt Williams here in the 5th.
You can see Girardi with that 5-1. This is going to be a pickoff attempt at first base. We have the luxury of peeking in from our center field camera.
Yeah.
As the Indians don't have that same luxury unless a base runner can get far enough off first base to peek in and see Girardi's signs. But that's a very dangerous proposition with Andy Pettitte on the mound.
Curveball here. And Williams gets into it. Left center field. At the track, at the wall, gone. A 2-run home run and a 7-3 Cleveland lead.
Curveball here, curveball there. Bobby mentioned earlier that left-handers try to pitch Matt Williams. The breaking ball down, you can see the rotation on that. That ball just sitting about thigh high to Matt Williams. He did not get it down, but Williams got it up.
Just over the wall in left center, about 400 feet away, and the Indians open up a 4-run lead. Fourth in his career in the postseason, and after a 3-0 Yankee lead through 1, it's now 7-3 Indians in the 5th. And action starts for the Yankees in their bullpen with Brian Boehringer. Here's Justice reaching, and a little ground ball to Sanchez to end the inning. More 2-out thunder from the Cleveland Indians. This time it's supplied by Matt Williams. First hit of the postseason. It counts for 2. Halfway through it, Indians lead by 4.
97 American League Division Series on Fox is brought to you by Miller Lite, to remind you that anything can happen at Miller time. By Jimmy by GMC, putting you comfortably in command. By DVD Video from Philips Magnavox, technology for the heart, the spirit, and the imagination. And by Gillette Sensor Excel and the Gillette Series. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Well, Matt Williams just took his best shot out at Monument Park. Beyond the wall in left center field as Andy Pettitte gave up his first home run since August 1st. Matt Williams got him. Andy Pettitte came in giving up 1 home run every 34 1/3 innings pitched. The best in the major leagues, and a lot of 2-out runs scored tonight for Cleveland, all 7. And the latest 2 on the home run by Williams in the top of this 5th inning. Tim Raines, a line drive right at Fernandez. It caught him. 1 away.
Joe, not only was that home run a rare feat this year, only 7 home runs, 1 every 34 innings, that's the best ratio by a pitcher over the last 20 years in the American League. Raines ropes it, but Fernandez is there.
Raines 0 for 3. Here's Jeter 0 for 1. A walk, a run scored in the first inning. Through all of this, you have to go right back to one of the first names mentioned tonight, Jaret Wright. He had that bad first inning, and you really can't find another word better than bad. He walked 3, couldn't find the strike zone. All 3 came around to score, and he has settled down the last 3 innings. Allowed a walk, a double, pitched around an error. And he's giving his team a chance to win this second game of the series. 2-1 now on Jeter. Meanwhile, it's been the opposite for Andy Pettitte. Cruised right through the first 3 innings, but the last 2 have been tough to get through. 3-1 now on Jeter. Mike Hargrove hoping that Jaret Wright can do what Orel Hershiser could not do on Tuesday night, I should say.
You'd think Jeter would be taking here. You know, you're 4 runs down, Jared Wright showing wildness in the first inning and hoping he would get back into that pattern. It's a good time to take. You trail him by 4 runs. Derek Jeter hammering that ball off his left instep.
After this, he wishes he would have took this pitch.
Yeah, right. Ouch.
You know, they always say to walk it off, but it just doesn't go away. There's really nothing you can do but wait for it to stop throbbing, and it may not do it until tomorrow.
Or November.
Those feet and legs are a big part of Derek Jeter's game, not only offensively but defensively.
Back in the box with a full count. And a good pitch down and in to get him for the second strikeout of the night for young Jared Wright.
I think Mike Hargrove was talking to Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, saying that last pitch really went down. You throw strikes like that, that'll bring a smile to Grover's face.
This appeared to be that two-seam fastball. Ball's going to run down and into the right-handed hitter. You can see that late movement. Started over the inside part of the plate and just bottomed out.
O'Neill takes ball 1 low. It reached 98 miles per hour. 2 out, nobody on in the 5th. That's hit hard and through the right side. A 2-out single.
Fastball right down the pipe. Hear that term a lot, professional hitter. There is no more professional hitter in the American League than Paul O'Neill.
And now Bernie Williams, who has walked, scored, and doubled.
Bernie Williams, American League pitchers try to pitch him inside, up and in, or on the hands, because if you lower that ball about 4 inches, that is a deadly area. That was a slider on the hands to Bernie Williams. He pulled it foul. That's what they try to do, is get inside on it.
1-1. Bernie Williams, such a short time, has become a very reliable bat for this Yankee club. Postseason career average of .366 and came in with an on-base percentage second only to Lou Gehrig all time in postseason.
You see some maintenance on Derek Jeter's left ankle.
Diving catch by Vizquel to take a hit away from Bernie Williams. And Jared Wright and the Indians are through 5. We go to the 6th inning here at Yankee Stadium. The Indians lead 7-3. We played 5 innings here at Yankee Stadium. It's a 4-run game. Welcome back to the broadcast booth. Joe Buck, Bob Brenly, Tim McCarver, and a new pitcher on the mound for the New York Yankees as we get into inning number 6. This has been kind of a reversal of game 1.
Reversal of fortunes for the Yankees, who scored 5 last night. And I beg your pardon, the Cleveland Indians scoring 5 in the first. The Yankees scoring 3 in the first tonight, only to have the Indians come roaring back with 7 unanswered.
And all driven in with 2 out. Brian Boehringer takes over for the Yankees on the mound here in the 6th inning after Pettit gave up 7 runs on 9 hits. Alomar with a 1-2 count. An RBI single in that 5-run 4th inning. 2 strikes on Alomar, and he is gone. Blown away by Brian Boehringer. Right now for a Miller Lite game break. Back to Chip in Hollywood.
All right, Joe, thanks a lot. The Seattle Mariners were blown away in Game 2 of their series matchup with the Orioles. Brady Anderson with a big blow in the top of the 7th inning. A 2-run homer off Bobby Ayala. The Mariner bullpen had trouble again. 9-3 the final. Orioles lead it 2-0. Game 3 Saturday here on Fox.
Now with 1 out, nobody on, here is Thome. Facing the right-hander, he takes a strike. When that Mariners club isn't hitting and pounding out 1 run after another, and that bullpen gets exposed, they are a beatable ball club, and the Orioles have found that out in the first 2 games of that series.
For the Mariners to win, they have to outscore the opposition. They're not going to give you any 4-3 or 3-2 ball games unless Randy Johnson's really on.
Thome out in front, 2-1.
And you know that Lou Piniella was hoping to go deeper into the game with his starters. Randy Johnson last night, Jamie Moyer today. That wasn't the case. Moyer came out of the game with a strained elbow in the ball game today. Piniella was forced to go to that bullpen. Sure, he's hoping for much better things from Jeff Fassero on Saturday in Baltimore.
Jeffrey Mayer lost his cap, evidently.
That's about the area where Jeffrey was.
1 out, nobody on. 2-1 on Thome. Big swing, 2-2. Oh no, we said his name. That means we have to watch this again. Game 1, American League Championship Series. Tony Tarasco, Jeffrey Mayer. Here it is, interfering. But the Yankees get the call. The Yankees went on to a 5-4 win in 11 innings and a home run by Bernie Williams. Sorry, I did it. I unlocked the door.
Your fault.
They've beefed up security.
That security guard is a
How do you like his
fan of
chances?
That
How do you like
security
his
guard's
chances?
only 13 years old, by the way.
1 out, nobody on. And the 2-hopper to Ray Sanchez. Thome is gone. 2 out. Don't forget to tune in to Game 4 of the American League Championship Series. Good looking at me for the $1 million Gillette Strike Zone Challenge, where 1 fan will have the opportunity to throw a strike for $1 million.
How much?
$1 million.
Okay.
All right, baby. 2 out, nobody on. That'll lead me down that Austin Powers path again. Tony Fernandez. Tony's put his stamp on this game. 1 out single back in the 3rd, and a 2-out, 2-run double to cap off that 5-run. We're going to take the lead inning back in the 4th.
Well, the Indians know they have to keep adding on offensively. They've seen what the Yankees can do coming from behind. They really need to keep their offense in gear. We see Grissom in the on-deck circle. Ron last inning nursing that right shoulder. Very tender swings in the on-deck circle.
2-1. Last night, I said it. We've all said it. Tuesday night, there's the story of the bullpen for the Yankees in Mendoza. Boehringer trying to follow suit. Good play by Charlie Hayes, ranging to his left. And the Indians go in order for the first time since the 2nd. Bottom of the 6th inning, 7-3 Cleveland. Well, I guess we should have expected this kind of stuff going into this series. The Indians and Yankees this season plus Game 1. You look at what they've done, the column on the left compared to the rest of the American League games. 2.8 home runs per game compared to 2.2. And nearly 13 runs a game averaged between these two sides. We had 14 in Game 1. We have 10 already in Game 2.
Joe Torre making the comment that he did not want to go toe-to-toe with the Indians because if you do that every day, they'll best you. Well, going toe-to-toe with it tonight, and Cleveland has scored 7 unanswered runs since the 4th.
Strike 2.
During the regular season, these two teams combined for scores such as 13-4, 12-8 twice, 11-10, 10-9. Then you get into the low-scoring games, 8-4, 7-1.
What are you, a Czechoslovakian judge? 2 balls, 2 strikes. Charlie Hayes will follow. And then Chad Curtis. Yankees trying to jump back in it. Just missing. And a full count.
Well, that's a pitch that a lot of major league pitchers will get when they're around the strike zone consistently throughout the course of the ball game. But we talked about Jarrett Wright's consistency, even though he's settled in lately. Not likely to get that call tonight.
Right through it. And Tino Martinez is the first out here in the 6th.
Are you telling me?
Millennium. It all starts tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Only 3 strikeouts tonight for Wright. Cade Jeter twice. Goes through Tino Martinez here in the 6th, and he gets out in front of Charlie Hayes 0-1.
He is throwing just as hard now as he did in the first inning. The difference is he's got a 4-run lead, pitching with a lot more confidence.
Foul tip off the mask of Alomar, 0-2.
Well, that one came to do some damage right there. Charlie, all he did was change direction on that pitch. That was still 96 miles an hour, maybe faster when it hit Sandy Alomar's mask.
1 out, nobody on. 97 miles per hour, just missed. Jared Wright, Mom and Dad went to see Phantom of the Opera last night. Charlie's kind of got that Phantom of the Opera flap.
Yes, he does.
On that helmet. 2-2. Jarrett's hand. I can't get away from this guy.
You think about how young Jarrett Wright is. He won't be 22 until December 29th. There have been only 3 rookie pitchers who have started here at Yankee Stadium in postseason play. The last one in 1976. That was Pat Zachary as a rookie for the Cincinnati Reds. And Jarrett Wright was 10 months old when Pat Zachary started against the Yankees in '76.
He and the Indians lead by 4 in the 6th inning with a 2-2 count. Charlie Hayes had him reaching, struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts to start this 6th. Jarrett Wright is just getting better with each inning that passes.
A steady diet of fastballs to set up this slider low and away to Charlie Hayes. Gets him way out in front. And when a guy throws in the high 90s, you really have to cheat to get on that fastball. And when the guy can throw any kind of a breaking ball for a strike on the outside part of the plate, you're going to get a lot of funny swings like that.
Got to start early, don't you?
A foul off the bat of Curtis at the end of tonight's game. Tim, Bob, and I will select the Chevy Truck player of the game. In Game 1, it was Ramiro Mendoza out of the bullpen for the Yankees. Jared Wright's got to be toward the top of that list so far tonight. With plenty of time left. We're in the 6th inning and the Indians lead by 4. Hike 2 on Curtis. Wright trying to strike out the side here in the 6th inning. The 1-2 count on Curtis.
He was trying to throw that last pitch through a steel door.
Wow. He really uncorked that one.
And now the 1-2 from Jared Wright. Nearly caught the inside corner, 2-2.
By accident, he was trying to throw that same slider he got Charlie Hayes on down low and away. Tried to overthrow it a little bit too much. It hung up inside.
Jared Wright with a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Chad Curtis. Struck out Martinez. He struck out Hayes. Got him 2. Struck out the side. Indians lead by 4. Back to the stadium after this from your local Fox station. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium for the 7th inning. Indians bat. They send in Grissom, Roberts, and Vizquel. Facing Bullringer and taking ball 1 high. Only 1 hit in this series so far for Grissom. 1-1 from Bullringer, who had a perfect 6th inning. Now, there is no doubt, guys, that Grissom is having a tough time with his right shoulder.
Yep.
You look at this graphic for the Yankee pitching, albeit a small sample, but the starting pitching. Pettit tonight, Cone in game 1, being outshined, to say the least, by the relief corps. Bullringer can't find it, and Grissom is at first to start the inning. And it's an error for Bullringer to start this 7th.
That area around the pitcher's mound has not been good for picking up the ball this evening. An error by Jared Wright. Bullringer, double dribbles, too many steps.
They call that still?
Yes, they do, even in baseball.
So Grissom is on to start this 7th inning on the error. Second error of the night for the Yankees. The other belongs to Charlie Hayes for his missed throw back in the 4th. And here's Biff Roberts, top of the lineup.
And Biff Roberts showing bunt on the first pitch, a called strike. Hey, the way Biff Roberts has been making contact at the plate and Marquise Grissom's speed at first base, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mike Hargrove go to the hit and run. This is a pretty good combination right here that he has.
Mike Hargrove telling us before the game, that game in this stadium, game 1 on Tuesday night, the best game that Biff Roberts has played since we picked him up. In the losing effort, but 2 out of 3 with 2 walks and 2 steals. And in game 1, both second basemen made their presence felt. Sanchez didn't get a lot of headlines or a lot of ink, but it was his double that extended the 5th inning, which led to a run, and an RBI single in the 6th inning preceded the 3 home runs. A little flare to left for Curtis. 1 away.
Chad Curtis very nearly overran this ball off the bat of the left-handed hitting Biff Roberts. It was tailing back to his right. Had to hit the brakes, went down to the turf. It was a nice catch.
It looks like he's having a tough time seeing the ball out in left field.
Possibly with the lights. He misplayed that ball hit by Tony Fernandez in the 5-run 4th inning. And on that ball, he looked like he was having problems with the lights.
Overran a ball in game 1 that he missed off the heel of his glove.
You know, sometimes those humpback line drives that don't really get up above the lights get caught right in that glare.
Right.
Well, you'll see a lot of times an outfielder will slide to catch a ball that he doesn't really have to, just to get down below those lights.
Here's Vizquel into right center field with a hit. Grissom will take the turn and head to third. It's first and third, 1 out here in the 7th inning. So as the Indians rally here in the 7th inning, we will give you our Aflac trivia question. Yankee Stadium has hosted the most postseason games, 109. Which stadium or stadiums hosted the second most? This is number 109 here tonight. The answer has a real New York flavor. First and third, 1 out. Manny Ramirez walks in. He's 0 for 3. Strike one. Indian box score hitting up and down. Fernandez, a couple of hits, 2 RBIs, and a 2-out double in the 4th inning. And everybody chipped in that 5-run 4th. Hits by Vizquel, Justice, Alomar, Thome, and Fernandez.
A lot of guys have nuances in their swing, and that little flip of the bat that Ramirez does right before the pitch is thrown is one of the more unusual timing devices that I've seen by any major league hitter. It looks so awkward.
And
There it is right there.
Very drastic. He almost gets caught. It looked like he was getting ready to take a second waggle there when the pitch was delivered.
Like he did then.
Very easy to get caught in between.
Yeah.
Hit 2 waggles there. Fouled it away for strike 2.
Double waggle.
Grissom reached on the error to start the inning, went first to third, and a hit by Vizquel. He's 3 out of 4 tonight, Omar Vizquel.
Usually hitters will try to relax their hands, and that's a movement that doesn't appear to be a relaxing type of movement.
Didn't have time here and fouled it away. It stays 1-2.
He was caught in between. Bob just said sometimes you get caught in between. He was almost caught in between a waggle there.
That was a wiggle.
There's a
Watch. You'll watch. He wants to put the bat out there in the zone. He starts it down and then has to pull the bat back and get ready to hit. A lot of movement before that pitch is delivered.
Little different look from high above here at Yankee Stadium. Runners at the corners, 1 out. And Manny Ramirez trying to bust this game wide open. The Indians lead by 4.
And even with the 4-run lead, I think this would be a good time to send Vizquel from first base. Ramirez has grounded into 19 double plays this year. Vizquel with great speed at first base.
Not moving, and Ramirez strikes out. 2 gone.
slider, then the fastball. Fastball on the hands, foul back, and then a low fastball. Girardi caught that ball, and the action of the fastball brought it down. Often you don't get those pitches if a catcher does that. Sometimes the action is so late and so heavy that you can't catch the ball and keep the mitt straight. It has to take the hand down.
Matt Williams, a 2-run home run his last time up. Basically the end of the night for Andy Pettitte, who would last only 5.
Big breaking ball from Andy Pettitte that just hung up over the middle of the plate about 5 high. Matt Williams takes it out into the bullpen in left center field.
Now up with 2 on, 2 out.
We mentioned Manny Ramirez and that unusual waggle of his. Well, Matt Williams, occasionally you'll see him bring the chin to the front shoulder. It's a relaxing movement. Matt telling us the other day as Mel Stottlemyre's out to talk to Brian Boehringer.
Little better look to John Hart tonight. Last time we had him on Tuesday night. And look on his face like what just hit us. After that 5-run first inning, the Yankees came roaring back. Only to to win 8-6, and the Indians turned it over to the young right-hander Jaret Wright, and boy, has he performed well here tonight after a rocky first inning. Graham Lloyd, the left-hander, getting ready for New York out of their bullpen.
Getting ready for David Justice, who is the hitter on deck in case Williams gets on.
You look at that postseason bullpen act by the Yankees last year. Graham Lloyd, a tremendous part of it. 6-1 record and a microscopic ERA. Runners at the corners, 2 out for Matt Williams. 2-0.
Matt Williams, a good low fastball hitter, middle in. Look on him like a lot of other hitters, up and in, low and away, especially breaking balls from right-handers down low and away.
Good pitch, low and away. 2-1.
Tough to cover everything with those hit zones. What we try to do is show you the locations where a hitter is most dangerous. Of course, location, only one of the elements in getting a guy out. Late movement, location, change of speeds.
Late cut, 2-2. Vizquel running on ball 3, low and away, and I would say he had a pretty good jump.
Just throw to third base to keep him from stealing 2 right there. He was walking into second base by the time that ball crossed home plate. Look at this.
It is a stolen base for Vizquel, and now second and third, 2 out. Low and away for ball 4, and that will load him up with Justice coming up.
And that will also bring in Graham Lloyd from the bullpen. Mel Stottlemyre checking. And there is no way that Boehringer is going to pitch to Justice.
Boehringer could not get around the error here in the 7th inning. An error, a single, a walk. And he will leave with the bases loaded. As Torrey will ask for the handoff from Brian Boehringer. Here comes big Graham Lloyd. From beyond the outfield wall, he'll work here in the 7th inning with the Indians leading by 4.
All right, guys, Chip Terry in our Hollywood studios. 19 years ago today, oh, who can forget? Bucky Dent, the one-game playoff, hits the 3-run homer off Mike Torres over the Green Monster. The Yankees win the game 5-4. They won the World Series that year. And Steve Lyons has a very special name for Bucky Dent, guys. You ought to ask him about it.
We're in the top of the 7th here at Yankee Stadium. David Justice first in to face Graham Lloyd. Strike 1.
Get a look at Lloyd's numbers on the season. Basically a sinker slider type pitcher, an occasional overhand curveball.
Lloyd trying to keep it a 4-run game. Strike 2. Came back and caught the foot of the home plate umpire, Dan Morrison.
Dan appears to be all right. You may or may not know that umpires do wear shin guards under their pants, and it hit him right on the inside of the right knee. That is usually the crease in that shin guard that allows you to bend the knee. He appears to be okay.
And Joe Girardi taking a little extra time getting down this crouch, a professional courtesy to the men in the gear.
Career with the bases loaded, 2 slams for David Justice. A career .348 hitter. Behind here, 1 and 2, is Graham Lloyd. Tries to keep the Yankees in this game.
That was hittable right there. Those first 2 strikes were not, and that's what Joe Girardi have to think is going to have to talk to a man from Australia. He's from down under and throws over the top. But that was a hanger right there.
Entirely too good with 2 strikes on the batter. You're ahead in the count, 1 and 2. You want to make a pitch around the corner of the zone, breaking away, and hopefully get a swinging strike chasing the ball out of the strike zone.
Grissom, Vizquel, and Williams aboard here in the 7th.
You can see the bite on that slider then. That pitch before was just that hanging slider that just spun in the strike zone, but that slider there had some bite on it. Justice just making contact to pull it foul.
The 1-2. Hard hit, but around Tino Martinez and Graham Lloyd. Thinking back to some of that 1996 postseason magic. Time to stretch. Yankees bat down by 4. Mike Jackson takes over for the Indians. Jarrett Wright leaves after working 6 innings. We've shown you his father a couple of times. Clyde Wright. And he said if he just had his son's arm for a day and could pitch with the kind of stuff he has as he gets the hugs as he heads toward the clubhouse, he'd be a happy man.
Apparently Clyde Wright in his day was a junk balling left-hander, breaking ball, screwball, and he said if for one day I could have that fastball.
Well, no junk baller is Michael Jackson. 2 and 5 on the year, very deceptive record. This guy can flat get you out. We talked about his value to the Indians the other night. The short reliever when Jose Mesa was out of there.
Takes on Girardi here to start the 7th inning and gets out in front. Jackson an inning and 2/3 in game 1. No runs or hits, a walk and a strikeout.
Well, Mike Jackson's really come a long day since his days with the Mariners. He used to be a 4-seam fastball and a slider pitcher, and that was it. He's worked on a sinking fastball. He throws his slider to either side of the plate now. He changes speeds on it. That second bullet point, the late breaking slider, one of the best in the American League, one of the best in baseball. And he's got so much confidence in it, he will throw it in any count to any location.
Out in front of Girardi, 0-2. Sanchez and Raines will follow. Quick and easy as Girardi is gone to start the 7th inning.
That's one of the nastier sliders you'll see right there, the drop-down version. Girardi with no chance.
Well, what were your chances on the Aflac trivia question? Yankee Stadium has hosted the most postseason games, 109 in its history. Which stadium or stadiums have hosted the second most? I told you it had a New York flavor to it. The Polo Grounds in Dodger Stadium. Each with 44 games hosted on our Aflac trivia as Sanchez checks on Williams, 2 out.
Well, that breaks a string of 4 consecutive strikeouts. 3 by Jarrett Wright before leaving, and 1 leading off this inning by Mike Jackson.
Tim Raines walks in. Game 1, the bottom part of the order so instrumental in either starting or continuing rallies for the Yankees. Hayes, the number 6 hitter tonight, 0 for 2. Curtis, Girardi, and Sanchez, the bottom 3, a combined 0 for 9. Ball 1 to Raines as Paul Assenmacher gets ready for the Indians in their pen.
One would think Mike Hargrove having Paul ready in case Paul O'Neill comes to the plate, even after that home run the other night for the 8th Yankee run. Mike loves that matchup, Assenmacher against O'Neill.
Numbers from game 1 as he deals outside, 2-1 on Raines. Strike 2 on Tim Raines.
There was the changeup from Mike Jackson. He throws it very rarely, but that's a pitch that he's just come up with in the last couple of years. At one time, he could be considered a 2-pitch pitcher. Not anymore. He's got the full arsenal.
Jared Wright went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 3 hits. Walked 4, struck out 5. And now Mike Jackson looking for a perfect 7th inning. Mentioned in game 1 that Jackson's the guy who stepped up and became the closer for this Central Division champion Cleveland Indian Club, the beginning half of the year, while Jose Mesa was having all of his problems, both legally and physically, when he was on the mound for the Indians. Raines, a base hit to left. We remind you that tomorrow you can catch more exciting action of the National League Division Series at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ESPN. The Braves look to close out their series with the Astros. Then at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on NBC, the Marlins can do the same when they head to San Francisco to take on the Giants. It's all coming up tomorrow. First game on ESPN, the second game, the night game on NBC. And then we'll be back at you on Saturday. Game 3 of that Mariners-Orioles series in Baltimore. Daylight game. Here's Jeter, 1 on, 2 out, took a ball. Now a strike. Now 1 and 2.
There are those nasty sliders you were talking about, Bob. Those pitches are unhittable, those last 2 sliders.
Well, he keeps you honest with a mid-90s fastball that he will bust in on your hands, but you know he's going to go to that slider when he gets in a jam. You just can't commit to going out there and looking for it because he keeps you honest with the fastball. Like that.
Little straightener up.
And a 2-2 count. Late cut by Jeter. It stays 2-2.
Well, that was the slider in the front door. Starts it at the right-handed hitter. This is the sequence for Jeter. Fastball inside to set up the slider away. Another slider away. Fastball up and in. Slider that starts on the inside part of the plate and breaks over the heart. And Jeter caught leaning out of the batter's box. Very defensive swing. Fouled it off. Put you in that rocking chair.
Jeter, a base hit to center. Raines will stop at second. It's 2 on, 2 out as the Yankees mount a 7th inning rally.
Well, Paul Assenmacher is warming up Derek Jeter, one of the better two-strike hitters in either league. Looking bad to stay alive on the pitch before that, and now the slider laced to right center.
Mike Hargrove makes the long walk out to the mound to talk to Mike Jackson, with O'Neill coming up here in the 7th. While this big crowd here at Yankee Stadium hopes to erupt, we'll remind you that this week, America's most watched pregame show is back on the road and will be live from Green Bay. Then don't miss a key NFC Central battle as the 5-0 Buccaneers take on the Packers. A great matchup on this young 1997 NFL season. There's also other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox.
Well, Tim, as you anticipated, Paul Ossenmacher in to face Paul O'Neill. Mike Hargrove hoping for better results tonight than he had on Tuesday night against Paul O'Neill. Brought in exactly the same situation. Get out a left-hander, he grooves a fastball, and Paul O'Neill puts the icing on a back-to-back-to-back sequence of home runs for the Yankees. You know, before that home run, Paul O'Neill was 3 for 22 lifetime with 9 strikeouts against Paul Ossenmacher.
Right, mostly off the breaking ball, not the fastball.
There's a breaking ball, and there's a pop-up. Left side, foul ball, out of play, strike one.
I don't think Paul O'Neill's going to see a fastball from Paul Ossenmacher unless it's like the 6th or 7th pitch just to keep him honest. I think he learned the other night that fastball in the middle of the plate. No time for it, especially in this situation with 2 outs.
Well, it's that old saying, you're going to get beat with your best pitch.
Right.
There's no doubt Ossenmacher's best pitch is that sweeping breaking ball to left-handers.
The ball and a strike on O'Neill.
And it's not unusual for Ossenmacher to throw all breaking balls when he comes into a game to get out one left-handed hitter.
It's also not unusual for Paul O'Neill to look for that pitch, knowing he hit the fastball out the other way, look for the slider and take it to left field. He can do that with the best of them.
Down the line and right. Got a chance. It is foul. Just foul. O'Neill narrowly missed the 3-run home run.
You can't hit that pitch unless you're looking for it. This is a breaking ball low and away. O'Neill leaning out, knowing full well he hit the fastball out the other night, and he just misses a home run.
And now O'Neill set up at 1-2. To the right side, easy for Tony. Did he see a fastball?
I don't think so.
After 7, Indians out in front by 4. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium for the 8th inning, with the Indians leading by 4, along with our producer, John Filippelli, our director, Bill Webb. Joe Buck, Bob Brenly, Tim McCarver with you. Yankees got 3 runs in the first inning, but they have not been heard from since. And the Cleveland Indians 5 runs on 5 hits in the 4th. Matt Williams a 2-run shot in the 5th inning, and it's 7-3 Cleveland here in the 8th with Alomar leading off. It's 1-1. Sanchez, 1 away. Again, we thank the MetLife Blimp. They're celebrating their 10th year, providing aerial coverage of sporting events and television specials throughout the United States. Combined, the Blimp, Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2, have traveled over 600,000 miles since the program began. Not this program, but the entire Blimp program itself. Tomey
takes a strike. Jim, an RBI single and a run scored in that 5-run fourth.
You know, when you think about it, it may be, from a strategic standpoint, a little tougher to hit in the American League than the National League, because managers can leave pitchers in a lot longer without having to worry about pinch hitting for them. So you get the matchups that you want if you're a manager, but not as a hitter.
And here's a matchup that the Yankees have to like, with Lloyd dealing with Thome. 2-2.
Well, Lloyd has thrown him a good breaking ball for a strike and then a couple of hangers. Pushed him back out of the batter's box, comes back with a fastball right down Broadway. Thome's got to be expecting another breaking ball here.
On 2-2.
Nope.
2 out.
He would have gotten us, too. I was looking for it.
Thome is gone. He's 1 out of 4 tonight. Lloyd is perfect, facing 3 hitters so far. Got out of a bases-loaded jam in the 7th inning by getting Justice. And with 2 out, nobody on, here's Tony Fernandez, 2 for 3. Hopper to Sanchez to his right. That's good arm, and we sail into the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, Charlie Hayes coming up. Yankees trail Cleveland by 4.
The 1997 American League Division Series on Fox is brought to you by the all-new Chevy Venture. The Venture is here. Let's go. By Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers. By Boston Market. The food's always better at the market. Boston Market. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You don't have to live thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
It is the Division Series. It is New York. And after winning Game 1, 8-6 in dramatic fashion, the Yankees find themselves trailing 7-3 here in the 8th inning. This is the second largest crowd since they remodeled Yankee Stadium in 1976. The largest was on Tuesday night. And this just 38 fewer than we had here in Game 1, 57,360. Bottom of the 8th inning, heart of the lineup for the Yankees. Williams, Martinez, and Hayes, with Assenmacher back to work after getting the final out in the 7th. Bernie Williams takes high for ball 1. Williams walked and scored in the first. Doubled with 2 out in the 3rd. Lined to short for the final out in the 5th.
The Yankee fans are looking for a reason to get back into this ball game. They were very vocal, very loud that first inning as Jarrett Wright struggled with his control, but really haven't had a lot to cheer about since that point.
The 1-1. Assenmacher falls behind.
That's the first fastball that Assenmacher has thrown, his 8th pitch. Bernie Williams, one would assume, will get another fastball here.
A leadoff walk is the way we start the bottom of the 8th.
Mike Hargrove asking home plate umpire Dan Morrison if the pitch was down. This could very well be the last hitter that Assenmacher faces. Let you be the judge. Was it down? Yep.
Time was called as they will now play behind Bernie Williams at first, with the lefty Tino Martinez at the plate. Jose Mesa ready if needed in the Cleveland bullpen.
Joe, I think this is the last hitter that Assenmacher will face, whether he gets Tino Martinez out or not. And then Mesa will come in, and Joe Torre will probably pinch hit Wade Boggs for Charlie Hayes.
2-0.
Got to figure that Boggs is going to fit in there somewhere, with 4 right-handed batters due up, and Mesa probably due in after Martinez.
Off the end of the bat into right for Ramirez. 1 away. Swinging on 2-0, and Martinez is now 1 for 3 tonight.
Martinez tried to pull a pitch out away from him. Hit it off the end of the bat, as you mentioned, Joe. Didn't really sting that ball as well as it looked when it left the bat. Got out to the outfield and just dived for Manny Ramirez.
Assenmacher against Tino Martinez, and now likely will get a chance to head back to the Cleveland clubhouse. Jose Mesa out in the bullpen, and now making his way toward the pitcher's mound here in the 8th inning. 1 on, 1 out. Indians trying to protect a 4-run lead. Left on that Yankee bench for Joe Torre. 3 left-handers, Boggs, Fox, and Pose. Right-handers, Fielder and Stanley, and Posada, switch-hitting backup catcher.
And you got to think that Wade Boggs will be probably the first pinch hitter, and then if the Yankees get within reach, 3 or 4, they're 4 runs down right now. If they need the long ball, then Joe Torre can count on Fielder number 1 and then Mike Stanley. But to get on base, if he needs a hit, he's got Boggs. If he needs the long ball, he's got Fielder or Stanley.
Jose Mesa on for Mike Hargrove in the Indians. You see the 4-4 record, the fine ERA. There's a 4-seam fastball, a sinking fastball, a little bit of a breaking ball. Basically, he's going to go after the hitters with power pitches. Everything hard.
Charlie Hayes first up. 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Williams at first, 1 out. Base hit into left field. And it's 2 on with 1 out. They stick with Hayes, and Charlie delivers with Chad Curtis walking in.
Sounded like Charlie Hayes was jammed a little bit by this fastball inside. Hits it down around the trademark, but muscles it into left field for a base hit.
Are you as surprised as I am that Chad Curtis is at the plate?
Well, it's getting to be about Wade Boggs' time. You don't know whether Joe Torre's going to go with Curtis and then Girardi, and then if one of the 2 of them get on, of course, you'll have a chance to tie it up. Fielder may be the hitter. I'm a little surprised that Boggs isn't pinch hitting either on deck or right now.
And here comes Mike Stanley into the on-deck circle. Well, maybe that's a pretty good reason why Curtis is still in the game. Hitting .444 against Mesa. 2 on, 1 out here in the 8th. 7-3 Cleveland. 1-1. Williams led off with a walk. Charlie Hayes a one-out hit. Cecil Fielder getting loose down in that Yankee dugout. 2 on, 1 out.
Big overhand curve that time from Jose Mesa. That's a pitch he doesn't use very often. We mentioned basically a fastball, slider, power type pitcher. But he knows what Chad Curtis has done against him in his career as well. Went to the well, tried to come up with something different.
Two and two as Curtis was jammed.
Jammed on a half swing. He tried to hold up, but couldn't.
When you go to the plate against a power pitcher looking for something hard and he throws it, you start to commit that swing and then realize the pitch is not a strike. You get caught with a lot of those half swings.
Full count.
You can see how Chad Curtis is choked up on the bat. This is normally not the batting style of Curtis, but able to hold up there. By choking up, it gives you a lot better bat control. Gives you the ability to whip it through the strike zone a little quicker. Trailing by 4, I don't think you send the runners right here. You got a strikeout pitcher out there. Jose Cardinal telling Charlie Hayes one way or the other. I do not think this is the time to send the runners.
Do it again.
And no indication of running there by either base runner. If the Yankees should choose to start the runners, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see Sandy Alomar throw through to second base and try to get the trail runner. Bernie Williams at second base is able to get a much bigger lead. He has much better speed. Charlie Hayes would be the man to go after at second base. But I don't think they're going to run either.
They're loaded. One of the best with the bases loaded is Mike Stanley. 8 grand slams, hitting .344 in his career. And he pinch hits for Joe Girardi. Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, will walk out and talk to Mesa.
May be a mechanical visit to Jose Mesa. You may have noticed he breaks his hands very quickly, uses the slide step on the delivery to home plate. Now with the bases loaded, no threat of any kind of a stolen base right here. He may be telling him to go with the big leg kick, go with what you feel more comfortable. Forget about those base runners.
I think Jose is going to try to be more comfortable first against Mike Stanley. And then if Stanley misses, one would expect Cecil Fielder would be the pinch hitter for Ray Sanchez. Even a sac fly may bring up Fielder next.
Not only is Stanley deadly with the bases loaded, but he's had his fun against Mesa. Strike one. Stanley, the tying run at the plate here in the 8th. The Yankees might not win here tonight. They always seem to get their chance. And they have it here in the 8th. That'll force home a run.
either hit or get hit. Mike Stanley hit right above that left elbow, it appears. Gene Monahan, the trainer, out to talk. Ray Sanchez has been called back. It's an interesting choice now. Do you pinch hit Wade Boggs or Cecil Fielder? Does Joe Torre try to peck away? Looks like Andy Fox may be the pinch runner. And Boggs will hit. It'll be Boggs.
Be lifted for the pinch runner, Andy Fox.
Well, that represents the tying run. Andy Fox with great speed on the bases. He could score on a single should Boggs happen to find a gap in the outfield.
Long single, short double. It's an interesting choice of Boggs. And when you think about it, it makes so much sense because the Fielder, who is a low ball hitter, Mesa throwing high fastballs, Boggs is going to be the guy more often than not to make contact. Of course, he's also a double play guy if he hits a ground ball to the middle infielders, but he's also a guy with over 2,800 hits.
And a great eye at the plate. Mason's been all over the place.
Right.
Saw Wade Boggs take a walk and drive into one in the World Series last year.
Game 4.
Vizquel for the second out. And with the tying runs on 2 out, it'll be up to Raines.
Boggs really gets jammed with a fastball right in his kitchen. Hit it just above his thumbs. A little looper out there. Vizquel makes the play on the easy pop-up.
We have seen Boggs take in that situation so many times. Mesa with a walk and a hit batsman, and Wade was just looking for the fastball. It looked like it was inside off the plate, but he was jammed royally. You're right, Bob. Wow.
Now Vizquel gets in behind the runner, Curtis. The tying runs are on, 2 out, and here's Raines. Another good one with the bases loaded. Strike 1. Hayes, Curtis, and Fox. Only 1 hit for Raines in his career against Jose Mesa. Slow roller for Tillman. The tag to end the inning, and after all that, the Yankees get only 1. We've played 8. The Indians lead by 3. As we get into the 9th inning here at Yankee Stadium, Andy Fox, who came in as a pinch runner, stays in at second base. Jorge Posada is now in behind the plate. Will do the catching in place of Girardi, who is lifted for a pinch hitter. And just as the inning About to get underway. Graham Lloyd heads back to the dugout and eventually to the clubhouse. He is relieved here in the 9th inning by the right-hander Jeff Nelson.
Nelson pitched an inning in the ballgame on Tuesday. He was on the mound when Matt Williams hit that near grand slam down the right field line. See his numbers on the season. Nelson with a sidearm delivery, sinking fastball that tails back into right-handers, and that frisbee slider.
Well, don't forget that Saturday it's Game 3 of the American League Division Series when the scene shifts to Baltimore, where Cal Ripken and the rest of the Orioles take on Ken Griffey Jr. and the Seattle Mariners. That series shifts to Fox on Saturday. Coverage begins live at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on Fox. The winner of that series takes on the winner of this series as the Indians tonight try to even this series at 1 apiece. You look at the Division Series update for this postseason. Baltimore now out in front of Seattle 2-0. 18 runs scored, 9 today. They beat Seattle 9-3. The Marlins, 2 last at-bat victories and a 2-0 lead over the San Francisco Giants as they now go back out to the West Coast with that series shifting down to Houston. Atlanta and that great pitching up 2-0 with Smoltz ready to go in Game 3.
It's interesting that over the last 3 days we have experienced areas exhaling. The Matt Williams fly ball to right field the other night, the whole New York area exhaled when O'Neill made the catch. And after the 8th inning, when Mesa got out of it, you could almost feel the Cleveland area exhaling.
I heard it.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. The blimp picked it up.
Here's that play in right in the 7th inning with the bases loaded. Yankees leading by 2. Everybody exhale. Matt Williams to the wall, but caught by Paul O'Neill. Preserving the 8-6 lead, the eventual final score. Here's Marquise Grissom to start the 9th. 1 pitch and a little fly ball to center for Bernie Williams. 1 away, and Grissom is 0 for 4. The numbers for Nelson from Game 1. Here's Bib Roberts, 1 for 4. The Yankees in the 9th inning will have Jeter, O'Neill, and Williams. Right now a 3-run Indian lead. Dwight Gooden getting ready in the Yankee bullpen just in case.
You know, Gooden may be loosening up for the game on Saturday in Cleveland. The reason I say that, Joe told us the other night before the game that he did not want to bring Doc Gooden in during an inning. That the only time he'd bring him in is to start an inning. And unless this game goes into extra innings, Gooden can't start an inning.
The game Saturday night. David Wells, a 16-game winner, will take on Charles Nagy, a 15-game winner. 1 out, nobody on, and Robert stays alive.
You know, Joe Torre does not look forward to the possibility of having to bring relievers into the game early, but the other day with Ramiro Mendoza came in, kept the Yankees in the game until they could get their offense untracked, and Dwight Gooden would be the other pitcher to come in the event that one of the starters gets banged out of the game early.
The word on David Cone is that he will start Game 4. That's what the Yankees are planning on. That game on Sunday night. 1 out, nobody on, and Roberts into left center field. On base again with a 1-out single here in the 9th.
We'll say again what we said 2 nights ago. that Bip Roberts, after 1,107 regular season games, finally with a chance to play in the postseason, and is he making the most of it? That's his 6th time on base in 10 at-bats.
If he'd have known it was this easy, he would have been here sooner.
But you can look for him to run, I'll tell you that, with Nelson out there.
There he goes. Didn't waste a lot of time. Neither did Posada. Goodbye. 2 out.
What a throw by Posada, right on the money.
Well, Nelson with a quick slide step gives the ball to the catcher in a hurry, and Posada comes out of the chute and fires a rocket down to second base right on the money. Derek Jeter just has to catch the ball and hang on, and they've got Bip Roberts hung out.
You could see Vizquel trying to wave that bat in the eyes or in the view of Posada. Didn't bother George. Whew.
Now 1 ball, 1 strike count on Vizquel.
Well, Joe Girardi says that by the year 2000, Jorge Posada will be a starting catcher in the major leagues and will be making all-star teams. He thinks that highly of his backup catcher.
He didn't say that it would be here in New York, though.
He didn't say that. I'll tell you what, though, if you miss many more pitches like that and let umpires get hit with them, you're going to have a tough time sticking around in big leagues. Umpires hate that.
Wasn't even a skate save, was
You
it?
can see Dan Morrison practicing his dance steps back there to get out of the way of the next one.
2 balls and a strike on Vizquel. Into right. O'Neill on the track to end the inning. Jeter, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams coming up for the Yankees in the 9th. They trail the Indians by 3. As we get ready for the bottom of the 9th inning, before we let the drama take us away, we'll remind you that the senior coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on Fox and the producer of tonight's game is John Filippelli. Game directed by Bill Webb. Pre-game coordinating producer Scott Ackerson. The pregame is produced by Gary Lang, directed by Bob Levy. Senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. The executive producers, David Hill and Ed Gorn. And special thanks to Lance Garrett, Barry Landis, Derek Manning, and Kathy Hunt. Bottom of the 9th inning. Yankees bat, they trail by 3, and Derek Jeter will try to get it started for New York. Well hit to center. What a start.
Wow. Boy, Derek Jeter showing unbelievable power to straightaway center field. Fastball down the heart of the plate, drove it straight over the 408 mark in dead center. Woo. That's a little bit of sock for a middle infielder. Man.
Now it's a 2-run game, and now it's Paul O'Neill.
Hey, guys, we were talking about it between innings, and we all are surprised that Brian Giles is not the left fielder instead of Bip Roberts, particularly since Mike Hargrove told us before the game that he would be a late-inning replacement defensively.
Ball and a strike as Mesa hits 97 on the radar gun. There's Giles with a jacket on. On a cool night, the Indians sweating this one out in the 9th. How about this matchup?
And O'Neill has Mason in a situation where he has to throw a fastball.
Two and two. Good pitch in on the hands of O'Neill.
Get a look at this Jose Mesa fastball inside part of the plate. O'Neill just a little bit tardy, fouls it off to the left side. O'Neill may actually be a more dangerous hitter now with 2 strikes. We documented on Tuesday 66 opposite field hits, led the major leagues. With 2 strikes, more likely to be a defensive type hitter. Go with the pitch.
Like that, but hit right at Matt Williams. There's the first out here in the bottom of the 9th inning for the Indians. They're 2 outs away from evening this series at 1 on each side. And then they truly have the home field advantage with the final 3 games to be played at Jacobs Field in Cleveland. The season when trailing after 8, Joe Torre's club only 3 victories, 51 losses. Bernie Williams. Ball 1.
Only time Yankee hitters, when they're trailing by 2, are going to get breaking balls or on even counts and when Mesa gets ahead. Anytime he falls behind, they can look for the fastball.
Fastball low, 2-0. Williams has already drawn 2 walks. Tino Martinez is next. David Wells loosening up that left wing for his Game 3 start on Saturday. Two and 1, 97 miles per hour from Mesa.
I agree with you, Tim. When he gets behind in the count, he's going to challenge with a fastball. As a hitter, you have to be disciplined enough to make him get the ball down where you can handle it.
Two and 2 on Bernie Williams.
Bernie thought that ball was up, but that 2-0 pitch could have been up too. So Dan Morrison probably thinking if you swung 2-0 and the pitch was up, then that pitch is a strike.
And Bernie Williams says, if you're going to call it a strike, I better swing at it. Which appeared to be in a very similar location than the one before it. Just stuck his bat out there and fouled it off, bought himself another pitch.
Only 1 hit for Williams. The Yankees needing a base runner to have a chance here in the 9th. They already have a run on a leadoff home run to dead center by Derek Jeter. Two out. And now the Indians 1 out away from splitting the 2 games here at Yankee Stadium.
Going up and out of the strike zone with a couple of fastballs. He buries one down low and inside. Bernie Williams, you can see him try to adjust his swing, get his hands on that ball, but too much giddy up on that fastball. Couldn't catch up to it.
Last chance for the Yankees is Tino Martinez. Jose Mesa trying to ring up save number 1 in Division Series play. He had a save in the LCS in '95 and won in the World Series against Atlanta in 1995. Two out, nobody on. 2-0 on Tino Martinez.
You have heard it ever since Little League ball that a walk is as good as a hit. And this situation, that's exactly what Tino Martinez wants to do. Fight his way on base any way he can so Charlie Hayes can have a chance to tie it.
A strike from Mesa. It's 2-1. Now the Indians 1 strike away from a win here on a Thursday night. The parents of Jarrett Wright, boy, did he step up and settle down. Give the Indians exactly what they needed here in Game 2. Stands to be the winner. Thome hangs on to it, steps on, and the Indians win it 7-5. And it is Jarrett Wright the winner, and it is Jarrett Wright, our Chevy Truck player of the game.
Well, after a rocky beginning to the ball game, had trouble finding the strike zone, Jarrett Wright went back to what worked for him, throwing that good gas.
Jarrett Wright and the Indians victorious. Mesa gets the save, and this series is split 1 game apiece as it heads back to Cleveland. Don't forget, playoff action resumes on Fox Saturday at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, with Game 3 of the Division Series between Seattle and Baltimore. And catch Game 4 of this series Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. All of that right here on Fox. So for Tim McCarver and Bob Brentley, I'm Joe Buck saying so long from New York, where the final score is Cleveland 7, New York 5. You've been watching Fox Sports coverage of Major League Baseball. Good night from Yankee Stadium.